like me were taught and trained to keep our chins up and to not complain. Tacopina also confronting Carol with old posts on Facebook years after she says she was assaulted, where she calls herself a, quote, massive fan of Mr. Trump's TV show, The Apprentice. But Carol told the jury she also made several jokes about him.
Tomorrow, we're going to be keeping a close eye on a key hearing in the Senate Judiciary Committee after a series of alarming reports involving Supreme Court justices conveniently failing to disclose financial conflicts of interest. Lawmakers will hold a hearing on the court's ethics.
We're going forward, and I think we're going to produce a bipartisan code of ethics. The highest court in the land should not have the lowest standard of ethics in the federal government. They better take this seriously. The integrity of the court and the reputation of the court is at stake.
Good to see you, Moose, and thank you for the suggestion for the thumbs up, man. All right, we got another video here, a little off topic of my title, but I thought it would be something good to listen to. The name of the video is United States versus the United States of America. This video is brought to you by High Frequency. Please like, subscribe, and share. Tell them Dirty Larry or Larry James 965 sent you. This video is used for fair use, entertainment, and educational purposes only. Thank you.
God allowed a flaw to exist in our Constitution, and that flaw was Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. And I think I have here we are. I'll read it to you. This is the flaw. Congress shall have the power to exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such district not exceeding 10 miles square as may by session of particular states and acceptance of Congress become the seat of the government of the United States, and to exercise like authority over all places purchased by the consent of the legislature of the state in which the same shall be, for the erection of forts, magazines, arsenals, dockyards, and other neat and needful buildings, and to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers, and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States or in any department or officer thereof. That little paragraph in our Constitution was a flaw because that created another nation within our nation. Now, let's see what constitutes a nation. If I told you that a governing body was given a prescribed territory containing a body of people, what more would you need for a definition of a nation? A governing body having a rule over a prescribed territory containing a body of people. That's a nation. Well, you see, the Constitution created a union of the 50 states, and that was a three-branch government. You had a legislative branch, an executive branch, and a judicial branch. That was a three-branch republic. And the Congress that worked for that government was limited in all the laws it could pass by the Bill of Rights. They had to honor that. No law that was passed by Congress for the republic that couldn't pass muster of the Bill of Rights was valid law, and it was not enforceable in the republic. But the same Congress had exclusive rule over a given territory containing a body of people. Exclusive rule means that they were a democracy. Anything that's passed by a majority vote became the supreme law. And there was no limitation of the Bill of Rights or anything on that.
Supreme
Anything that's
law.
passed by a majority vote became the law of the land. And then Congress had its own executive officers, they call them administrative agents, to enforce its own law, and they had their own legislative Article I courts to try their own law. So you had three branches of government, all in the legislative branch of the republic. And you see what a contrast was created there. Here you had a wonderful document protecting everybody's rights as citizens, and Congress could only pass the law.
Everybody's right. Did you hear that? We're all protected.
And the judicial branch judged the law. But here you had all three branches of government all in.
Morning, Nubs. You're muted.
How you doing?
We're doing. How about yourself, man?
I'm doing swell, just off to work.
You're swelling up. Damn, you better go to the doctor and get that checked out.
Larry, you know I don't go to anybody that practices.
Damn it. See what happens when you get senile?
None of that practicing bullshit for me.
We just do, right?
That's it. There's doing and there's not doing. There is no try.
Damn it. You mean Yoda might have had a clue?
Yoda was the clue.
That was kind of the point.
He was the clue. And I'm not talking about any games.
Damn it. So you going back to your house?
What's that?
You going back to your house you were working on?
No, I'm going to, I started a fence yesterday. I should be able to finish it today.
Oh, you're cracking slacking, Nubs. You should be able to get that shit done in one day.
You're absolutely right. I would have done it. And, you know, we can all make excuses. Mine actually is valid. I needed to let the concrete set in order to put my rails up.
Concrete don't need to dry, damn it.
No, next one I'm going to do, I told my business partner, I said, dude, don't fuck me over, because I had hours that I could have been working yesterday, but that damn concrete was wet. You know, and they have the quick dry where it'll set up fast enough that by the time I'm done with my last post setting wise, I can come back through and start hanging rails. And then after all those rails are done, it's set up enough that I can actually finish the fence with pickets.
Right. How much more is the quick set than the normal?
A buck or two.
So he's being a cheapskate, huh?
Oh yeah, I reamed his ass out for it because I was like, all right, so you saved us $20, but spent $20 in gas for me having to come back here.
Yeah, not only your time.
Right. And it's not, I mean, I'm not looking to complain. We need to make it more efficient because otherwise we're wasting the most valuable resource we have.
No doubt about it. TIME.
Yep. Most valuable you know what's really funny, Larry, is I mean, don't say anything obviously on a live broadcast, but you know my name, right?
Oh yeah.
Think about that one.
Oh
Most
yeah.
valuable resource we have.
No doubt about it.
So this Yusuf L character, man, he's got some fucking knowledge, let me tell you.
Yeah, I've been watching him for a little while. He seems to be pretty right on.
To me, he seems like an honest, moral, upstanding character that, you know, is out there looking to not necessarily have people fall on their ass, but give them a further grasp of reality.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I seen the title of the video and I thought, this might be a good one to listen to. Kick in those 4 barrels.
Couple more.
Yeah, so remember I was telling you I got hit on an electric scooter by a sheriff? Well, I got my electric scooter running again.
So now you've got the sheriff running again?
Yeah, I got the sheriff running again. You weren't supposed to tell nobody, damn it.
That guy hit me. It caused damage to my car.
Scooter.
No, I'm saying that's what the sheriff was saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what he said. He said, you hit me, and I bent his push bar.
I'd like to bend his push bar.
Well, to me, on a little, 70, 80-pound scooter, and me being maybe 200, and bending a push bar that's meant to push tons of vehicles around, being able to bend it is quite a feat, I believe.
Maybe he hit a deer earlier and just did not report it as, so he had to find a Larry to cover it up.
Yeah, he was too interested in the blonde that was beside him.
I mean, at least was she that cute? I mean, was it worth looking or?
Well, let's just say there's conflicting stories on that person. Some say she's a narc. Some say she's, this, that, and the other. But as to answer your question, no, I don't believe so.
Oh, okay.
But what I understand is he almost hit somebody, 2 blocks before he hit me. So, patterns do not exist.
Well, I would say that one's probably more a pattern of inconsistency that goes much further.
Yeah, I went much further, all right, about 30 feet. I
No,
tried
I'm
out.
saying
I tried my new wings out, and I guess I didn't vector in the atmospheric pressure at that moment in time because I hit the ground. Damn it!
well, you just needed to have an always. They have wings. Or a Red Bull. They give you wings.
Damn it!
Come on, get with the times.
Where were you 2 years ago? Damn it!
I don't know. I could check my memories, but the Googly hasn't pulled them up yet.
Ooh, googly! I love to get googly.
I had I was pulling into a gas station in St. Paul yesterday, and this cop, he was in his car. I mean, it wasn't that he was doing anything wrong. He just wasn't doing anything right.
Well,
But
maybe he was doing it left.
he basically blocked the intersection as I was coming in because he wanted to get across because he was being impatient. Well, I had made mention to him. I was like, excuse me, this is the scenario. This is what happened. I'd appreciate personally if you pay attention to your driving a little bit more. That son of a bitch decided to start acting like he had some authority over me and was attempting to ream me out. And then the one officer that was standing there said, "You can leave." I said, "You're fucking right, buddy. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And that's why I'm telling you to fucking drive correctly." They didn't like me at the end for some reason.
Funny how that works. I'm sorry, I was on the side getting some more coffee. So you can see. Hi. I'm gonna be on the side for a second, getting some more coffee.
Yeah, I need to pay attention to traveling.
Oh. All right, I'm back in black.
These people are crazy.
Tell me it's not true.
Apparently, it's late for work day.
What? Work? Work. I think I've heard of that word. All right, we're gonna go back to playing this video here and see what he has to say. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to High Frequency Radio. Tell them Larry James 965 sent you. This video is used for entertainment, educational, and fair use. Thank you.
The legislative branch of government. And this is what we have today. Well, now, the Rothschilds didn't like our new republic. When this was founded, the Rothschild bankers said, this new nation, the only thing they could borrow would be gold or silver, because Congress was given the duty to coin gold or silver as a medium of exchange for the republic. And so the Rothschild bankers, who loaned credit, which they create out of thin air, didn't like a nation which could only borrow gold or silver because they didn't have any gold or silver to loan. And so they wanted to bring this nation back under the king because they had a deal where they were loaning the King of England bank credit. And that was right in their liking. But this new nation could only borrow gold or silver. So they financed England.
These are extremely dangerous times for the American Republic. A battle between truth and lies. We have to fight against American Marxism.
In the War of 1812, hoping to bring America back under the king. But they lost the war. And so America prospered just like God said it would prosper in Deuteronomy 28, verses 1 to 14. We had all these blessings that God could provide. But then America began to get too much prosperity, and I guess our Israelite people, we can't stand prosperity. When we get that way, we begin to think that we created the prosperity in our own skill. We don't need God anymore. Well, once a nation gets like that, they need to be disciplined. And so the discipline was brought on by the Rothschilds discovering the flaw in our Constitution. See, God kept them blind for many, many years. But finally, they discovered.
Have you heard of this Howard guy that's doing the audio? Howard Freeman?
What was that?
Have you heard of this Howard Freeman guy that's doing the audio?
No. The only Freeman I've ever heard of, well, I've heard of many, but the one that I know is James Freeman.
Yeah. All right.
Not the same guy.
Oh, no. Damn it. I hate that when it happens.
Discovered the flaw, and they said, well, Congress could not borrow anything but gold or silver when Congress is working for the Republic. But Congress, in the legislative democracy, could borrow anything they please and make anything they want a legal tender in the payment of debt. And so they loaned Congress, working for the legislative democracy, the national debt. But it was not long before Congress had borrowed more than that little nation, the legislative democracy, could ever repay. Well, how can we sucker the rest of the United States into this debt? Well, the trick is to use the United States in two different ways. As I mentioned, there are two separate and distinctly different nations, both called the United States. And one of the favorite tricks is to get you to say you're a United States citizen, and they always interpret that as meaning that you are a citizen of the Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 democracy. And if you don't know any better, and they make that assumption, and you don't correct them or object to that assumption, well, then you waived your rights under the Republic, and sorry, but you're going to do as Congress says to do. And this is the way we've been taken in.
Now!
And another thing, how to make the people of the Union of the 50 states responsible for the debt of this little nation here in Washington, D.C. Well, the way we can do that is through commercial agreements. And so what Congress did, and this is where Congress works, you'll find they work a lot more for the legislative democracy than they work for the Republic. And that's where they can usurp power. So what they did, they left the Republic short of a medium.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did he just say The government works for themselves and not us? No way. Tell me it's not true. Come on now. That can't be true.
Of exchange. They weren't coining enough silver and gold to carry on commerce. But the politicians said, oh, we're here to help you. And we want to help you. We will let you, we have plenty of paper money here in Washington, D.C. We will allow you to use this paper money for all your business throughout the continental United States. We will make this a legal tender throughout the United States. Of course, at first it was redeemable in gold or silver on demand, but they got it, this paper money spread out, and of course the politicians tell us how good we are, why you've got to go modern. That's been a technique all along, you know. Anything new is better than anything old, and of course these carrying these silver coins around in your pockets, well, it makes holes in your pockets. Your wife has to work sewing up all the holes that you wear in your pockets. And we want to save the people and wives all this work of sewing up holes in their husband's pockets and so on. So if you carry paper money, you won't have that problem. And let's go modern and everybody deal in this new paper money, which is so much better and more efficient than the
So
gold
much
or silver
better.
coin. Well, the people went for it, and they used this money.
Much
But gradually, they had to get us more involved. So we were using this money, but they took away the redeeming quality into gold or silver from it, and now it was a medium of exchange, but it would not exchange for any real money. And so now Congress had to give us another little benefit. And, oh, we'll help you out on that problem. We will give you the right, the privilege, it's not a right, it's a privilege of discharging your debt with equitable currency, paper money, and you'll need still another benefit which the government can give you, because if you walk into a grocery store and you came out with an armful of groceries, and the manager might come out, tap you on the shoulder and say, sir, I don't believe you paid for those groceries. Now what he said was true. You didn't pay for the groceries, you discharged the debt. And this is another important thing for us all to know, the difference between the word pay and discharge. Suppose a pound of butter is worth $1. If you give the grocer a silver dollar for a pound of butter, the effort to make 1 ounce of silver exactly equals the effort to make 1 pound of butter. So it was an even exchange. You paid for your butter. But if you give the grocer a piece of paper with a figure written on it, there is no intrinsic value in the paper, but you got the butter. So what you did, you discharged the debt instead of paying the debt. And then the government says you will need a benefit which we will give you, because we don't want you to get out in that parking lot and have the grocer tap you on the shoulder and say you didn't pay for those groceries, which you didn't do. You only discharged the debt.
From mind, body, emotions, relationships, sensory experience.
But we will give you limited liability on the discharge of your debt. How good they were. Now
Yes, those were
that means
so
that
nice.
you can never be brought into court for not paying your debt. You can discharge your debts with limited liability. And that, you see, puts you under a contract with the federal United States. And once you're in a contract with that group, there's a little system of law, but I haven't got time to go into it, but that ties you in to the national debt of federal United States. So that's how they say we owe $3 trillion in debt, the national debt of the nation. But actually, it's the federal United States that owes that debt, not the continental United States where we live, because the citizenry of continental United States were supposed to.
Sounds to me like they're trying to pull some damn trickery on us. Tell us our government would do no such thing. Come on, tell me.
Larry, say it ain't so.
Trickery. That's all I hear is trickery.
Tomfoolery and trickery.
I heard those were some pretty nice fellows myself. But then again, I've been wrong before.
Had
I was
silver or
wrong about
gold,
coming
and
down
there
this highway.
What was that?
Said I was wrong about coming down this highway.
You were wrong when you were right when you were wrong?
Yep.
Damn it.
congressman working for them was only empowered to borrow silver or gold. But they borrowed that paper when they were working for the legislative democracy. And we have been suckered into that legislative democracy. And so this is one other thing that you need to know. Law does not compel performance. You're free at law to do anything you please, provided you do not infringe upon the life, liberty, or property of someone else. It's only when you damage somebody else and they file a complaint that you can be brought to account for what you do. But other than that, you're free at law to do anything you please. Now, when they say it's the law, you are required.
I'm wondering if that's where the saying land of the free came from. I never quite really understood that saying, but you know, I don't understand a lot of things.
Larry, it's land of the fee, not land of the free.
Oh, somebody misspoke.
Well, they were talking about taxes, so it was a little bit, shady in the essence.
Shady Essence. I wonder if that's going to be a new energy drink.
Fuck yeah, it's Shady Essence for all your debauchery needs.
Damn. I think I better invest in that one. All right. Well, I guess we'll get back to the video and see what this guy has to say.
Required to buckle your seatbelt. You are required to file an income tax. That is compelled performance. Whenever you see compelled performance, you're dealing with a contract or a commercial agreement. You can be compelled to perform to the letter of any contract that you're under. That's even under the system of law that the founding fathers set up. Contract, you give up your rights and you agree for this consideration to do this, this, and this. And if you fail to do any one.
Now, wait a minute. Don't you have to agree in order for there to be a contract? I could be
Well, that would
misinformed.
be consent, Larry. Yes. No consent, no contract. If you continue to force that, that would be considered rape.
Reality, what a concept.
One of those three things, the court, you can be brought into court and the court will compel you to perform to the letter of a contract. Well, that operates under the common law. But
wait a minute. They compel you? They don't throw you in jail? Well, shit, if they're just going to compel me to do something, I'm not going to do it.
under the common law, a contract must deal in substance. a contract is based upon silver or gold. When a contract is based upon equitable paper, it is not enforceable under the common law. The common law deals in substance. So contracts that are dealing in paper are not enforceable under the common law. And so they had to invent a new system of law, because all contracts today, if you hire a painter to paint your house, the contract.
Now, wait. Here we go. Another. Wait a minute. I'm lost for words. I lost my. Damn it.
Practice in terms of Federal Reserve notes, paper, not gold or silver. So that contract would not be enforceable in a common law court. So they had to invent a new.
All right, I remembered. Invent. Isn't that the key word? Invent. They had to invent something so they could pad their pockets? Huh. Interesting.
Larry, it's not for their pockets, it's for your pockets.
Oh.
They don't care about their pockets, they're worried about your pockets.
Yeah, how much they can get from my pocket.
Right. Well, that's beside the point, but they're concerned about you.
Oh. And Moose says, wait a minute. All right.
Moose, get your ass up here.
You've been told, Moose. You were told to get your damn stinky ass up here.
It's travel time with Larry.
If not, Moose, we'll call you Shard number 2.
Jurisdiction to enforce contracts of a colorable nature. Now, the word colorable, you want to look that up in your law dictionary. It means something that looks like the genuine thing, but it's not genuine.
Oh,
A silver dollar is a genuine dollar. A Federal Reserve note, which says $1 on it.
What was that, Dubs?
I said I love coloring time.
That was the favorite part of the kindergarten, wasn't it?
Kindergarten? Man, fuck, I still love to color.
There you go. Hello, audio, radio, don't you know?
Is not a genuine dollar. And yet they will both spend the same in the grocery store. But one is genuine and the other is not. Now, if you have contracts with a colorable consideration, the whole contract is colorable. That means it looks like a contract, but it's not a genuine contract. That contract is not enforceable under the common law. So they had to invent a new colorable jurisdiction to enforce colorable contracts. And that's what.
There's that word again. Invent.
I'm just going to put colorful on the back side of my truck.
Colorfully invented?
Yeah. Invented in color.
Well, that might get you in trouble.
You know, you think about it, they brought out black and white TV, and then they brought out color TV. Isn't it interesting that it's all under the color of TV?
TV is a color. Damn it.
That's a head
You trying to say that was a head scratcher?
Yeah.
I love it.
We have today. And here is what you find when you go into a court today. The court presumes that you have a contract with the federal United States. And what they do, the judge looks.
So we have, they're inventing and they're assuming. They invent to assume that they invent. Isn't that kind of an oxymoron?
Well, anytime you make an assumption, you're making an ass out of you and me.
Except when it comes to the government, of course, right?
Well, of course.
looks
They're
down
colorful.
at this gentleman here and he says, he looks like he's been eating. I'm quite sure that when he got his groceries in the grocery store, he didn't pay for them with gold or silver coin. He discharged the debt with equitable paper. And he enjoyed limited liability on the discharge of his debts. That is a consideration of a commercial agreement. Now he has an obligation.
Now, wait a minute. Wait. Uh-oh, here we go. Another, wait a minute. If you got a piece of paper that is worth something, wait a minute. How can a piece of paper be worth what? Wait, I just got confused. Damn it.
On that same commercial agreement. The obligation is to obey every statute of government on the letter of the statute as a commercial obligation. So now, if it says you are required to file a tax return, you are required to buckle your seatbelt, you see, that is enforceable on the letter of the obligation without any rights whatever. Because even under the common law, once you're under a contract, the contract is enforceable on the letter of the contract. But within this system of law, they had to provide a remedy. And it was a long time before we discovered where the remedy was. But we have discovered where the remedy is. And let me read the remedy to you. And you will see how, even in this system of law, we still have a way out. And it says the making of a valid, the word valid is very important there. Reservation of rights preserves whatever rights the person then possesses and prevents the loss of such rights by application of concepts of waiver or estoppel. Now let's read in the same law. When a waivable right or claim is involved, the failure to make a reservation thereof causes a loss of the right and bars its assertion at a later date. Now, if we apply the remedy in their system of law, when we go into a court, if we apply use their own law that they're operating, he looks at you, this man's well fed. He's undoubtedly been buying groceries and he has used a government privilege of discharging debt with limited liability. But if you have validly show that court that you have reserved your exercise the remedy which their own law provides, now that judge must bring you right back under the common law, and the statute that compels performance would be void under the common law, and the case must be dismissed. This,
They sure hate
is
that
what
fucking common
we,
law, I'll tell you.
as God's remnant, God has provided.
What was that?
I said those people that are in power, per se, really fucking hate that whole concept of common law.
But wait a minute. Isn't that what we're supposed to be our foundation?
Well, this foundation needs some repair.
So they did shoddy work to begin with, so the foundation broke down, or was it broke to begin with?
No, I don't think it was shoddy work necessarily. I mean, maybe there was a couple lazy fuckers that showed up to work every once in a while. However, I think that over time we have just simply gotten too fucking stupid. So in a lot of ways, America represents the same thing as, when somebody goes to fix a house. 9 times out of 10, the homeowner should not be a homeowner because of the simple fact they don't know the first thing about owning a home. So they call somebody like myself. They call somebody like myself to come take care of the things that they should be able to deal with. And I'm okay with it. I mean, it provides me the ability to create sustenance for myself. Nevertheless, it's ironic.
So, in other words, you're saying Forrest was right and stupid is what stupid does?
Stupid does stupid all the fucking time. I love this light. I've caught it green twice.
Green,
Green.
green, green!
Provided, even with all the corruption that goes on in the government.
We're giving away our MAGA wristwatches for free. All you have to pay is the
MAGA
shipping.
wristwatches
No hit-
for free.
Is provided.
Yes, you can go get your mega wristwatch for free too.
Is that
All you gotta,
stupid?
all you gotta do is pay $199.99 for shipping, and it's yours for free.
Larry, does that include the 2 bananas and a hammock for everybody?
And your Donnie the Chip hat.
Yes. Those are some benefits.
Well, we strive. All we want is your
Money.
Your money.
We only want your input, as long as it's in financial terms.
Because we're the only ones that can pay a debt with a debt.
Paying debt with debt is very fun.
All right, I guess we got about 3 more minutes of this video here.
A way out for us. And he says, you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. But the important thing that I want to get over to you today is that there are 2 entities, both called the United States, and both have their origin right in the Constitution of the United States, which we consider a most sacred document. But it's that flaw area of the Constitution that has been exploited by evil men with God's permission.
They would never do that.
Teach people to straighten up. And it's just like
Our government would never, has never deceived any part of society at all once in their whole lifetime.
Despite their best attempts.
Yes, there has been no attempts, damn it. None. Zilch. Zanada.
the punishment that God dealt to Esau. When Esau was disobedient to God, Jacob was disobedient to God, Esau was always there to harass him. Well, when we, as a people, if we don't observe God's laws, we are under the Esau of our present time is that Article 1, Section 8 Clause 17 of the Constitution, which created a nation within a nation. And we come under the laws of that nation unless we know how to preserve our rights under the republic which we were born under, and where we have a right to do it. But the point is, you see, God has a way of punishing those who ignorantly ignore him. And we're in that state. We're in the second half of Deuteronomy 28. And our nation is being brought low through the fact of this. The average person thinks, well, I am a citizen of the United States. Yeah. The wiser expression would be, I am among the citizenry of continental United States, but I am
amongst the slave of slaves. I'm a slave, you're a slave, you could be a slave too, because we love you.
I'm a citizen of the sovereign state of Arizona. And you see, Congress, under the Republic, is given no authority to legislate directly upon the citizens of the 50 states. They can only legislate upon a given territory that they have in Article 1, Section 8. But they sucker us into that jurisdiction through our money system. But within their own law, we have a remedy to get back to our Constitution and our Republic. And that is the thing that when God says the remnant will know the truth, and the truth will set them free. Once you know that truth will set you free. But you will only know it if you're in God's remnant. God will make your mind blind. And I found that some people, you can explain it, and they still don't understand it. And that is, when you're right with God, this information will reach you, and you'll be set free by it. And I thank you very much. I think my time is up.
So what do you think, Nubs?
Have you ever heard his interview with, well, it's not his interview, but the interview with Gene Keating? Or
No.
Keating or whatever? That's a
No.
really good one he has on his channel.
Yeah. I got another one of his videos queued up. The title is An Interview with Common Law Trust Expert Gwen Wyckoff and Frank Ozek. Check that one out.
Yeah, go do it up. I'm almost to my job site, so I'm going to be in and out.
Okie dokie, artichoke. All right. Once again, this video is brought to you by High Frequency Radio. Like, subscribe, and share. Tell them Larry James 965 sent you. This video is used for fair use, entertainment, and educational purposes only. Thank you.
Okay, everybody. I would like to welcome Gwen Wyckoff to the show. Welcome to High Frequency Radio. Gwen, how you doing?
I'm doing good, and I'm glad to be here.
Great, great, great. I know you told me Frank, he's just a little tied up right now, but he's going to be coming on shortly as well.
Here he is.
I'm here.
Hey, Frank, how you doing?
I'm doing real good.
Great, great, great. Let me extend a warm welcome from High Frequency Radio, and let me just introduce you to all the guests. Everybody, this is Frank Ozak. Did I pronounce that correctly?
That's correct.
Okay. And Gwen Wyckoff. They are two individuals who are extremely knowledgeable about common law trust. And you have a website and a book, actually, that you have written on this subject. Am I correct?
No, we have to be technically correct. We are contributors to the book.
Oh, you're contributors. Okay. All right. Okay.
The lawsuit we were in, they accused us of writing the book, and that was a huge legal point.
And one of the things is book.
Two books.
Two books. Well, are these books still available? Can people still get these books?
Yes, they can.
Due to the battle, yes.
Okay. Can you want to go ahead and put that out there where they can get these books? I'm sure they're very interested. Try to find out where to get them from.
Frank, you want to tell them?
Yeah, okay. You can go to Passing Bucks, PASSINGBUCKS.com. And there is a world of information there on the common law trust. There's also information there on the battle we did with the DOJ and the IRS. And you can see the initial paperwork that was presented to us, and you can see the final judgment. And we can no longer aid people in putting a trust together for them.
That means we can't physically put it together.
We can't physically put it together, but we can assist them, help them put it together.
Yeah, we can pass on to you our knowledge.
And then also, which would really key into what's going on, they can go to YouTube, and this video is also on our website. You can go to YouTube and just type in my name, Frank Ozak, or Gwen Wyckoff, and a video will come up by Ben. We were interviewed by Ben Lowry right after the DOJ settlement, and it's an hour and 15 minutes long, and it'll give you the hard nuts and bolts of what we're doing
and how the court case went.
Well, since the government went after these people, sounds like to me they were most likely speaking the truth, because we know how our government doesn't like the truth to be out there, because then that means we have knowledge, and they don't want us to have knowledge.
Discovery went, because it's very complicated.
No, Larry, we can have knowledge. We just
came
can't
across
apply
you.
it.
I saw the Ben.
I'm sorry. What?
I said we can have knowledge. That's not a problem for the government. It's when we apply that knowledge, that's when there's an issue.
Oh, yeah. You're most likely right, as usual.
Well, you think about it. You could have knowledge that there's $1 million in your bank account, but if you don't go actually pull that money out, it's just knowledge. You can't do anything with it.
But wait a minute. I thought there was no money.
Well, you know what I mean.
Damn it!
Currency, fiat.
Debt?
Yes, debt.
Lowry interview that you did. And I was like, wow, that's very interesting. And then I shot over to the website and, went through the information. And I said, I'd like to have these two people on my show. And you were scheduled to be on the show prior to this, everyone. And everybody already know I did a public apology, but there was a mix-up. And so I just want to say one last time, I wanted to extend, so sorry to, for that mix up that occurred last time you were scheduled to be on the show. That was 100% my fault. And I was deeply troubled about that. So I appreciate you agreeing to come back on the show today. I want to thank both of you. Okay.
Well, you seem to be a guy who's on our page, and we all get overwhelmed, so we can forgive you.
And then a lot of people out there that are looking for trust, they want to try a Massachusetts trust, they want to try a Kentucky trust, a Florida trust, what's his name's trust. And there's one thing that is not available to them, is a trust that has gone through the battle. And Charles Rucker Enterprises, which is a trust which owns the copyright for The Art of Passing the Buck, and the DOJ already knows this, they are a trust that has gone through the battle. And it was proven to the DOJ and the IRS that this trust is legal in the eyes of the federal government.
The practice you are about to learn is almost never described.
Okay, well, let's start from here. What is a common law trust? Let's start right there. What is a common law trust?
It's one that is put together as a contract by the people that, in reference to the Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, we have the right to contract. And there's certain specific legal precedents that have established the parts of a trust, but it's the right of the people to create their own trust. You don't have to go get permission from somebody else. And a common law trust, which is irrevocable, it requires at least one trustee who's not related to the person setting up the trust. The person setting up the trust is the grantor, and he has to do it for the beneficiaries. It's actually really, really simple. But what has occurred because of the extreme power of the common law trust is the dark side of our government has wanted to twist it all up and make it very complicated and very hard for the information to be put together. And there's a lot of disinformation agents out there who used to, and I don't think it's as common now as it was when we started this. They used to like to tell people, you can hide your assets, you can do this, you can do that, and all that. And the way they structured it was to make people put their assets into a trust so that the IRS could take them. So we went in and we researched everything and figured out when they can do that and when they can't. And the trick is you have to have at least one trustee not related to the grantor and at least one beneficiary. But in between those two statements is volumes of information. And so it's basically the right of contract under the United States Constitution that gives people the right to set up their own trust without asking permission from the state, from the government, from anybody else.
That contract basically is with the settler of the trust or the grantor of the trust and the first trustee.
Yeah, that's where the contract is.
And as far as the government is concerned, it can be set up in such a way, like Charles Rucker Enterprises, that is outside of the jurisdiction of the United States.
Oh, wait. Let's talk about that. Let's get some. What does that mean outside the jurisdiction of the United States? What are we talking about here? What does that mean outside their jurisdiction? I thought they had jurisdiction over everything.
Yeah, they think they do.
The federal government was hired by the states.
Wait a minute. They think they control everything and they don't? Wow.
To administer interstate commerce and banking and a very few other things. And the states are sovereign. The states are actual countries recognized in the world. Like if France wants to do business with California, France is doing business with a sovereign entity. California is a country. which, you know, is left out of the school books. So the federal government has, which is owned by the Royals and the international bankers, by the way, and it's a separate corporation. And to make sure that they confused everybody, they named it the United States of America, but that's a corporation. And that corporation administers certain things to the states. So a common law trust is part of state jurisdiction. It's not part of federal jurisdiction unless the grantor or the trustees make it part of the federal jurisdiction. And we train people how to administer their trust so they can have a choice as to how they want to do business with the trust.
They can do business inside the jurisdiction of the United States or outside the jurisdiction of the United States. And in our book, The Art of Passing the Buck, in Volume 1, there's a lot of information on jurisdiction in the appendix and Chapter 16 and Chapter 14, and just loaded with things that just covers jurisdiction. It may say privacy, or it may say has the right, and these rights are founded in the IRS code and in the Constitution.
I've been around and around with the IRS, and the thing that I've noticed is they don't touch a trust that is not in federal jurisdiction.
And that's basically how we won our case, because first thing, they came after Gwen and I, and DOJ and the IRS came after Gwen and I for putting the book together. And because we assisted in putting the book together, and we do not own the copyright. Charles Rogers Enterprises owns the copyright. That one, they found out that they had the wrong people. So the judge didn't want the case in her court. So she told me, go to discovery and resolve this. So one, we didn't go to court because we were looking forward to going to court, but we would have had an audience there. And the second thing was, is after discovery, they found out that Charles Rogers Enterprises owned the...
Before you listen to the beat that you're about to listen to, I got a better idea. How about I send you some brand new free for-profit beats that you could use for commercial use with licenses included? How does that sound? If you like guitar instrumentals, if you like Juice WRLD, Lil Peep, Lil Baby, The Kid Laroi, anything like that from the emo rap all the way to R&B, trap, and different stuff like that, then click below. I know you're going to love what I got for you. And if you like it, then I have some different channels that I'm going to be posting unlimited.
Copyright of the book, and Charles Rogers Enterprises, which is a trust, is outside of the jurisdiction. So what are they going to do? They can't do anything. It's outside their jurisdiction.
Now, this book has to be a powerful book to incite the ire of the IRS, for them to, train their eyes on you. How did that happen? How did they find out about you?
Because we're selling our book to the public.
They don't want that. They
didn't want that.
Yeah, we've had some other dealings with them, and actually there are certain agents that are really, they don't like our name. So I think that's part of it too.
Wow.
Yeah, the stuff that's in this book.
So they're saying the government doesn't like it when we speak the truth? Wow. Imagine that. I thought we were supposed to be for truth and justice. No! That's what I get for thinking.
Is really
Larry,
from
that's just
hardcore
us.
experience.
That's what?
That's just us, not justice.
Oh. Damn it. I hate that when you do that.
Being in court and doing the battle on taxes, doing the battle on this, doing the battle on that. And so we are a group of people, like at least 10 people, who have contributed to the stuff in this book. And we also emphasize how to raise your children to become leaders in your family, how to raise your children to become beneficiaries that put money back into the trust, how to raise your children psychologically, what the rich do on how to raise your children. We give you tons and tons of experience with trusts and distributions and how the rich do it and how the poor do it. And we even recommend reading Rich Man, Poor Man by Kawasaki. So, and we wrote volume 1 so that you never had to go and buy volume 2. Volume 2 is very pricey and it's big
That
and
is
it's heavy
Rich
and it's
Dad,
got tons
Poor
of
Dad,
court
not
cases
Rich
in it.
Man, Poor Man.
You don't have to go there. Just get.
Try that again. I apologize.
No, I was talking over the video. The book that she just referred to is not Rich Man, Poor Man. It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Ah.
So just
you're familiar with this said book.
Yeah, that's honestly, Larry, pick up that book or pick up a audio book of it. You'll appreciate it. It changes your mindset if you let it.
So you're saying to gain knowledge, you have to be willing to accept it?
No, not accept it. Research it.
And then accept it.
And then apply it.
Oh. Damn it. I'm getting this.
By researching it, you are accepting it. Whether it's true or not, that is to be determined by research.
No!
Good timing on that one, buddy. Moving up in the world these days.
Volume 1, because volume 1 will give you so much information so that if you want to sit down at the computer and do just a living trust on the computer, you will have tons of information of how you want to write that trust.
Yeah, the way that the current system is set up, they want every generation to start over again from scratch.
You may have noticed with my AR-15 right here that there's no serial numbers.
In other words, not have any money in their pocket and go out and get a job and work and be on the wheel the rest of their lives. But if you have your children set up in a trust at an early age, they leave the family and they have a few coins in their pocket and they can start in the world not from scratch, but having something in their pocket. And they can perpetuate the wealth of the family just by doing that.
Now I was going. Go ahead. I just said it. This just brings a question.
We're gonna pause this just for a second to remind everybody to please like, subscribe, and share. This video is brought to you by High Frequency Radio. Tell them Larry James 965 sent you. We're going to give them full credit of this video and have a great day.
Into mind, who could benefit from a trust? Who is this for? Because I'd already come to the conclusion. I study this stuff myself, and I see that, in my opinion, this is how everyone really should be kind of conducting their life around it, because this seems like where privacy has its most power inside of trust. Would you agree with that statement, or
Yes.
Could you expound on that?
There's certain ways of. First of all, the grantor puts. We never recommend somebody putting all their money in a trust because they really need to have their own cash. But once you put it in a trust, it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to the trust and administered by the trustees. So if it doesn't belong to you, there's no paper trail that it leads back to you. So how much more privacy would you like? That's like the ultimate. And so when assets are put into a trust, let's say you put your let's say you got a duplex that you've been getting personal money for a long time. And you decide you're going to transfer the duplex into a trust, and there's two trustees, and they're going to administer it. That means they're going to be the property management company, or they're going to hire a property management company. And you've got these renters, and they're paying their rent. Let's say they're paying $800 a month, and so you got $1,600 a month coming in. You used to have it coming into you, right? But
Right.
now it's coming into the trust. And the trust has a whole different financial structure. So now you don't have that $1,600 a month to declare on your income tax, right? So your income tax
Right.
bill goes down considerably, right? And then
Right.
within the trust, the trustees do their thing according to the rules and regulations of trust. And but you as a grantor, first of all, now you don't own it, and second of all, your liability's gone way down.
And then one other thing, caveat you can add to that is, say you own more than one piece of property. One piece of property is bringing funds into the trust. The other piece of property is maybe you had a vacation home that you just leave out there and you go there once in a while. But if you put that in trust, you have the right of use, and the beneficiaries have the right of use. And you could have 3 or 4 different homes all over the country or all over the world that were in trust. You had the right of use, but you don't have the right to sell it, but you can go there anytime you want to. Even cars, you could have the right of use of a brand new Mercedes, a brand new BMW, a nice Lamborghini. But if you don't own it, but you have the right of use, I mean, it's almost like owning it.
It is.
It's a much better way of living.
Yeah, this sounds like the old adage, own nothing, control everything. That's what we're dealing with right here.
In that particular case, that was either Rockefeller or Morgan or one of those big guys who said that. I've heard it so many times you'd think I know who said it, but it's kind of not really exactly true, because if you don't really control it, the trustees really control it,
right? Because
the trustees really own it. But the grantor can be an advisor, and in the big trusts, where the big boys play, that statement's really true because they'll kill the trustees. But with the little trustees, with the little trust, we're not.
Okay, well, wait a minute. But wouldn't the indenture or the declaration of trust dictate what the trustee is required to do as a fiduciary to the beneficiary? Because obviously this thing is called a trust. So you got to find somebody you can trust. That's what it means, right?
Well, yeah, one thing you have to understand, in a common law trust, it's outside the jurisdiction of the United States. The only thing that applies if it ever goes to court is the indenture. Any other laws that are on the books for a state or a government do not apply unless it's really inhumane.
The indenture is the rules and regulations of the family of the trust. The grantor sets out what you can do and what you can't do. And it's pretty specific in reference to, let's say he has a son that's disabled. And let's say the kind of disabled is sort of like he's a psychopath.
Did you know that there's an endless supply of free electricity constantly flowing in the ground beneath you?
Now, the
Those
grantor,
ones are my favorite. The psychopaths.
What was that?
I said those ones are my favorite. You know, the psychopaths.
Some of those are my best friends. They're
all right.
Wait, are you saying I need to be careful?
Full of care.
Oh. So I had that backwards as usual.
Every once in a while, Larry. Every once in a while.
Go!
Is that someday he might end up in prison or something, or he might end up in a mental institution. So he writes into the indenture his wishes on how to handle a situation like that. The indenture is very personal to the family. It's how the wealth is passed on through what's called trust certificates. It's how education is to be handled. In our trust, what we always recommend, the ones that we had recommended to be set up, we always recommended, for one thing, that the children are encouraged to learn accounting. there's nothing more valuable than understanding accounting to handle money. And if you're going to be a beneficiary or become an officer of the trust in the future, that's kind of one of the things that's very important to know, even if you're going to own your own business. So there's certain.
I agree
the
with that.
grantor has
Accounting
a
is
choice
fucking
of
vital.
setting up certain rewards, certain encouragements.
Try that again, Nub.
I said I agree with that statement. Accounting is vital. One of the things that I do for the longevity of my business is whenever my son is out with us, I always have my son go with my business partner because he's the accounting end. And I want him to learn that end of the business before he learns the labor, because he can find somebody to do the labor. The labor cannot always find somebody to do the books.
So you're trying to say you need to know what 1 + 1 equals?
You need to know how to balance your books and be able to put money where it needs to go to benefit long-term, not necessarily short-term. A good accountant will be looking 10, 20, 30 years ahead when most of their customers are looking at tomorrow.
Oh, so you have to look, 1, for your best interest and 2, for your future. Wow, reality.
And be diligent and disciplined enough to follow through. So you can know anything, you can know any and everything about a particular subject. However, if you're not disciplined to the mastery of that subject will remain non-mastered, despite your knowledge.
If you don't apply it, you can't use it?
That's pretty much it.
Go!
Like you can get extra capital units because you have a child or whatever. You know, these are all.
Or you've taken some extra classes in school that would benefit the trust. And also it has provisions inside it, which can be included inside the trust. In case you have run into a problem of substance abuse, your beneficial rights in the trust can be withheld until you clean up your act.
Right, and these are all spelled out inside the trust indentures. So when you get, let's say, there's been companies that have, and we like these companies because we've seen these trust indentures. We've, stolen some of the ideas, but there are boilerplate trust indentures, and it's okay to get one of those because you can kind of design your own way of doing it, but don't use it as a boilerplate because there's absolutely no way you could do it for your family as a boilerplate. You have to put in your own stuff. You have to know what you're doing. You have to focus on, okay, if this is for my grandchildren, what can I put in here to ensure that they're going to be well taken care of? And by the way, when a baby is born inside a trust, it becomes vested immediately. It has its own capital unit. So as the child grows up, he's already a member of the trust and already entitled to participation.
If you use batteries, you're going to want to hear this. There's a new little known way to bring nearly any type of old battery.
It's not like mommy and daddy withholding, torturing you, not telling you what your inheritance is.
And in the bigger trust, the children are introduced to the trustees, and the trustees are and the children know that the trustees are there. Try to instill with them that the trustees are there for them in case mama and papa goes away.
And as they get older and they go out into the world, the financial issues of the trust are part of their interaction with the trustees, not with their parents.
Well, let me ask you this. If I were to juxtapose a trust with a will, what are the salient features of each, and why would you recommend a will, or can they interact with each other, or can you just tell people what is the distinguishing characteristics of these two entities?
Okay, you have a will, and you've written it up, and you said your house goes to child A, and your antique collection goes to child B, and your bank account goes to child C, and so on and so forth. And you die, and they pull out your will, but you forgot one very important thing, that in order for the goods to be transferred to your beneficiaries, your beneficiaries need the authority to take the stuff. So the house that you die in or have when you die is still in your name at the county, and you're dead, and your signature is the only thing that can be used to transfer the house into the name of the beneficiaries, and so on and so forth. So especially the bank account, where you've been signing your checks all the time, and you're the only signer on the check and account. Well, that doesn't work too well, does it? Because now you're dead. How's anybody going to get your money?
One thing you can do in a will situation is provide a power of attorney to an executor. If you do not do that with a will, it goes into probate, and the court will assign an executor of the will. And of course, the executor is going to probably be one of the judge's friends. And you know how that will go.
Well, it could be an honest guy, but he's still got to get paid. So a will is much better than nothing, which is intestate. But
So, are they trying to say that judge might want a piece of your raspberry pie? No way. He got to keep his hands off my pie, damn it.
It's awkward, and if there isn't two signatures or two signers or two owners on everything, which is a living trust, then a will is sort of it works. We wouldn't tell you not to do it, but it's very awkward. And then the next step up is a living trust, where there is those duplicate signatures. So if one person dies, the other person has access to everything. So that's the difference.
Okay.
With an irrevocable trust, of course, you don't own it. So the trustees, which are perpetual with the trust, have total signature power, and it goes on and on and on, and nobody dies. So you don't have the probate problem.
The grantor could die, and the beneficiaries, even the trustees, could die, but there's always somebody waiting in the wing to step into that position, except for they can't step in for the grantor, because once the grantor dies, those powers get transferred to the trustees automatically.
Oh, that's okay. That's good information to know. Let me change channels here real quick. Let's talk about patriot mythology. Okay, we got a lot of people. We got a lot of people out there who, like, every time I look around, somebody's putting together a trust. Somebody's putting together a trust. And when I started studying trust management, I was like, man, this don't look like this some easy stuff. This is this is some. I mean, it's very interesting. It comes naturally to me because once you understand jurisdiction and public and private, it kind of just flows with me. Everything is just, I understand the court cases when I read them, why the judges rule in certain ways. I understand minimum contacts, all these different things. But give me your insight on this. What are the patriots thinking that they can do with these trusts? And do they have the right idea? Or do you think this is, they just got the wrong perception about this entire thing about doing a trust?
For background, one is that Gwen and I both in the early 90s became citizens of California.
Yeah, state citizens. So we are very entrenched
and we have numbers that can prove it.
Yeah, we're very entrenched in the whole patriot thinking. And so for us to get into the trust business, we had to realign our thinking. So one of the things is that the state citizen movement was about jurisdiction, 100%. It said it taught us the difference between the federal jurisdiction and how the income tax played in the issue of jurisdiction. And we both, Frank and I, sat at the feet of Richard McDonald and listened to the court cases. And I don't know, I must have done that for 6 or 7 years. So we understand the thinking, and we believe the thinking is correct. We wouldn't argue with that. We would argue with the fact that reality is quite different than how the laws are written. There's an awful lot of people that are not associated necessarily with the state citizenship movement, but they are very, very keenly interested in the taxes and getting out of taxes. And they understand that the income tax is questionable in its legality. And so they look at a trust as to get out of taxes. And they don't know how a trust gets you out of taxes, but it's usually a tax thing when a patriot comes and wants a trust. And the trust system is set up for beneficiaries and long-term gain. And if you follow that logic, if you follow that desire, if you think of your grandchildren when you're setting up a trust, you get the benefits that we mentioned before, which is, you put your assets into trust, you don't own them, and so you don't, you're not taxed on it. But first of all, patriots usually are in a rush to get a trust. They want to get one immediately, which is not possible. A real trust is like fine wine. It has to distill. Tremendous amount of education is needed to be able to walk between the federal and the state jurisdictions. You have to know, when you're filling out paperwork for a trust, you have to know what words to cross out and what words to replace with trust. And I mean, there's unbelievable details. And to keep your status as a state-based trust, it's just a huge amount of information. But patriots are usually in a panic. They usually want to have their trust now because there's some big amount of money coming eventually. And let's say that's true. Let's say they are going to get a big amount of money eventually. You have to have your trust in place and operating and a bank account to receive the money long before you get the money. And I think in some states it's as low as 18 months, and other states it's like 3 years before a trust is, I don't know what kind of legal word they use, but seated, S-E-A-T-E-D. So, there's tremendous amount of information about trusts, and if I'd have known about trusts, I would have only done trust.
You would have only done trust? That's all you would have done?
Yeah. I never would have done anything else. I just would have done the trust.
And that's my, now I'm going to give you, and we're going to go into some questions, and we're going to talk about Puerto Rico for a second, because when I got into this, I got into it dealing with the criminal justice system, and I found out that everything was a tax. I don't know if you're aware of it now, but the IRS has their hands in everything because the Federal Reserve are basically, would you agree that our government is being run by the Federal Reserve?
No, it's being run by the banks and the big corporations.
Yeah, the corporations. I thought that was redundant. It's actually being run by the Royals.
Royals. Yeah.
The Royals. And the Vatican.
And the Vatican. Because I saw, when I was studying this information, I came across some information where this individual, he had pulled his individual master file and unsanitized.
Welcome to the stream. We're watching a video brought to you by High Frequency Radio. Please like, subscribe, and share. Tell them Larry James 965 sent you. This video is used for fair use, entertainment, and educational purposes only. Thank you.
Version. And found out that he was categorized as a drug dealer coming out of Puerto Rico. And so he wrote the commissioner of the IRS, and he sent them a certified mail letter requesting a response and asking why this was, because he's never been to Puerto Rico. He said, look, I've never even been to Puerto Rico. Why do you have me flagged as this right here? And it
Never
came
mind
out
about the drug dealer, huh?
and this has come out that they basically have categorized almost everybody in the country like this. So
Yeah, because they can.
Because
that
they
was one
can.
that
Because
was
they
one
can.
that was one question that the DOJ posed to us during discovery. Is it says here that you have it's in volume 2 that the seat of the IRS is in Puerto Rico, and they said, well, you have to pull that out of the book. That's not true. And they did the research on it on our footnotes in the book, and they found out that it was, and they come back to us and they say we withdraw the question.
Well, they didn't admit to it. They just quit insisting it just kept getting dropped out. You know what's so funny? When we were in discovery, there's a bunch of paperwork that goes back and forth, and they accused us of this, and we deny this, and blah, 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 and go on. And each time they did this, their paperwork got less and less and less. It was very, very funny. But if anybody wants to look it up, it's on the internet. It's an 18-page article by William Cooper, and it's under the title of BATF. You can put BATF in a search engine and put William Cooper with it. It'll probably come right up.
Yeah, I'm putting it in. I'm putting it in the chat room.
Pardon?
Oh, go ahead. I'm putting it in the chat room right now. I've read it before. I know what you're talking about. William Cooper wrote Behold a Pale Horse. For all of you out there who don't know who William Cooper is, he wrote a book called Behold a Pale Horse. And he's an ex-Navy military officer, and who was exposing a lot of information that was the general public was unaware of. But
he was one of the first really big whistleblowers out there.
This game, you're not ready for it.
He was. He really was. And Behold a Pale Horse is still relevant today. That book is still relevant. I go back and read that book now and still pull stuff out of it.
Yeah, I knew him personally because I ran the magazine Perceptions magazine in the middle 90s, and he had Veritas out at that time, and so he and I would talk on the phone. I loved that man. He was crazier than a loon, and he was he drank a little too much, but my heart I just loved him, and that's how come I was so intimate with this article, because when he discovered the executive orders and all the stuff that created the IRS in Puerto Rico, he and I were on the phone talking about it. He was so excited because that's the toughest stuff to, dig out. And so the actual article in Veritas is on the website. And so you can look up, Veritas would be another keyword. It's so there. It's unbelievable. And CAJI Newswire Service, it's all there. You'll find it.
What's interesting, I have some associates who have some IRS problems, and they found out that the IRS agents don't even know the law. And I'm going to have Sherry Peel Jackson. She's an ex-IRS agent. She's going to be on the show next month on the 8th. And she was on I don't know if you've seen the movie by Aaron Russo's From Freedom to Fascism.
Right.
She's the lady on there who, would try to get the $50,000 bet to say, show us a law that says we have to pay income taxes. Talk about that and see if you agree with me. I say that you do have to pay income taxes because that name that they are taxing is not you. It is a franchise of the United States. An individual is considered a corporate entity. Would you agree with that or not?
No, I would simply say that they're bigger than you.
Basically, if you look up the word income, it always refers to the IRS code. So if you have income and you declare you have income, it is taxable.
Yeah, so if you don't have income, is it taxable?
You have to be.
Well, anyway, I can't go there. So
Right. Right. Okay.
Okay, let me just say this about that. It doesn't even matter whether you have income or not. Once you got a number and once you filed, you're screwed for the rest of your life and you can't get out of it, even if you go to court, because the judge will be killed if he rules in your favor. So, you know, you can go through all the kinds of paperwork you want. You can jump.
The judge will be killed. Huh. Think about that for a second.
Through hoops, you can, you know, threaten people, whatever you do. You're going to have to pay your income tax because you filled it out the first time. Period. And they don't care, and they don't have to care. They own you. An IRS agent doesn't have to know the law. They're there to break you. They only exist to break you and to hound you. They do not exist because of any other reason. So, you know, all your paperwork, you might as well burn it. Until the government changes, you're not going anywhere. I'm sorry, that's black and white. And now I speak from hardcore experience.
Yeah, I had a gentleman. He was the president of the Republic of Texas. Have you heard of the Republic of Texas?
Yes.
He actually got arrested, and I met him in jail. Actually, when I first started learning this years ago, and he told me the same thing. He said it doesn't matter. He said doesn't matter about the law. He said they're going to do what they want to do, you know. And it seemed like almost he was kind of broken a little bit, but he made me aware of some things. One thing that stood out of my mind, he told me about Domini Este, and he talked about how when you go into court, if they don't say court is in session, you're in chambers. He taught me a lot of stuff, but he said the same thing that you're saying, that they just don't follow the law at all. You know, it's like
they follow a sort of a guideline. And if the law is not on the books, they'll make sure it gets there by the time you go to court.
Yeah, Frank and I have both been there, done that. And but we're supposed to be talking about trust, so let's get back on that.
Yeah, let's get back to that. All right, let's get back to that. Question, it says, in the latest, they got some questions from some individuals. They said, in the latest audio on the Passing the Buck site, it was mentioned about the IRS Puerto Rico Trust Connection. Other than what is available on the web, is there any self-authenticating hard documentation evidence I could acquire to learn more about this? I guess we were just talking about.
Yeah, we just talked about that.
We just talked about that. Okay, and let's see what else we got here. In a previous interview, Gwen mentioned that it was by pure luck that your battle with the Department of Justice was a success. How effective is the program described in Passing the Buck at defending a common law irrevocable trust from compromise?
Okay. Then the answer to that was we were lucky that the judge could recognize from our initial paperwork that we had a substantial argument, and probably recognized that we were not the ones who owned the book. So in order to get such a twisted and sticky situation out of her courtroom, she turned it over to discovery. And that means it's not in the courtroom. You settle it with the DOJ attorney outside the courtroom. And the DOJ attorney was really shocked that she did that, by the way.
And also, that's on our website in the DOJ win versus win section, that the signature of the judge has final signature on all the paperwork going through. So the judge agreed to the final stipulation.
There's one simple hearing hack anyone can use to improve their hearing almost overnight. Did you know that
against Gwen and I?
All right. So the other luck was, and I give the DOJ attorney, and you can get his name on the website if you want to, I give him full credit for acknowledging the law, obeying the law, and following the law. Because when we showed him the laws, he would back down, he would remove it from the table, and we were able to, so we were lucky with the judge, and we were lucky with a good attorney. I mean, he was excellent. But we had to show him it in black and white. what the laws were. And of course, there's nobody in the federal government that has a huge background in trust law. This kind of situation just doesn't get that far. So we had all the court cases, and we had all the background, and we had all the IRS codes, and we just laid it on them and kept laying it on them and kept laying it on, and then the thing just kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller on their side. So we were very lucky in that sense, in that they did obey their own laws when it was laid down and showed to them. And then they tried to accuse us of a few other things, but it was just silly because the paperwork and everything else just showed that, we were doing trust to help the family establish themselves to hold together for generations. That's what we were doing. We weren't doing anything else.
We weren't putting trust together so people could evade paying income taxes.
In fact, the most safe place for people, if they're going to get a trust, the safest position for the grantor is to continue paying your income tax, because then they don't look at you and then they don't investigate the trust, and and so the grantor's income tax will go way down, but as long as they keep paying it, the likelihood of them being investigated is nil. So then you got your trust, and that's a whole different ballgame.
So don't draw attention to yourself, basically,
right.
is what you're saying.
Really quiet.
Are there any cases in particular that stand out in your mind that, the listener could?
So you got to pay them off so they don't mess with you. Imagine that. Reality, what a concept.
Go and research for himself, or just one. I know you probably have some of those in the book, but is there anything that stands out in your mind that is like just this case, like you can see right here that this was a well put together situation, or anything like that?
One that's in our book is Betts versus the Commissioner of the IRS.
Oh yeah, that's the one I was just going to mention. Frank and I are so often on the same page. Betts, B-E-T-T-S versus the IRS commissioner. It's an old case. I think it was in the 40s. And it went on and on and on. The IRS tried every which way to break that man. Oh, man, did they try.
And he had a trust.
And he had a trust, and he set up the trust, and he was the grantor, but he hired 2 trustees. So on that particular trust were 3 trustees. In that particular case, the grantor can be a trustee as long as he doesn't own it. He owns it in a collective situation. And he must have had buco money. He must have had a lot of money. He was an investment. He made money out of, he was a stockbroker, is what he was. And he had a mother and a sister and somebody else who were his beneficiaries. And they were receiving from his trust a monthly allotment, a monthly distribution. And he never took a dime for himself from the trust. And this trust was set up totally correctly, absolutely to the T. And the IRS tried to break it. And they tried 3 times to break that trust. And so if you read that court case, you really get the flavor of the intricacies and also the standard, absolutely standard robotic procedure of the IRS in trying to break a trust. It's a core piece of information, and anybody who's interested, they really should read that court case.
Wow. I mean, I just wrote that down. I'm definitely putting that on my list to go and get and pull up. One more question from the audience. Where was that at? Can a trustee be the majority exchanger in a common law trust? And first of all, what is a majority exchanger?
Okay, when a person puts money into the trust, or a house into the trust, or a car into a trust, they exchange it for what's called trust capital units. And a trust.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. This video is brought to you by High Frequency Radio. Tell them Larry James 965 sent you. This video is used for entertainment, educational, and fair use. Thank you.
trust capital units are treated legally just like stock certificates, which means that they don't have any value till they're cashed out. So
Here's one thing you need to do before buying anything online. Don't spend another dime on Amazon until you watch.
So let's say the trustee, there's two levels of this kind of trust. There's one for the very rich, and then there's one for the middle class, okay? The very poor, they don't have any money to put into a trust, so no use in doing a trust. So we'll say it's a very rich trust. We'll say it's one of the billionaire trusts. And
That should sound a little better. I had my echo on. Good morning to the both of you.
particular case, the trustee buys their positions. And in buying their position, they get the majority of the trust capital units, which is the law. The trustee has to own 51% of the trust capital units. Now, they have to own the majority. There's a whole different ball game in how you separate that 51% if you want to have more than one trustee. But no other exchanger can have any more trust capital units than the first trustee. Right. So in the middle class trusts, where people don't have that much money, they have, maybe 800,000 to fund the trust. Okay. And that isn't cash flow.
Well, shit, I want not that much money, $800,000. Where do I sign up?
I disagree, Larry. I don't think you do.
There
I think
you
the
go.
idea. I
There
think
you
the
go.
idea is a great idea, and it sounds real good. However, you and I both know if you really wanted that 800,000, you would be doing different things.
No! You just damn
I
you.
ruin everything. I ruin everything.
Just throw me a damn. Oh, I'll tell you. I'm just confused now. Damn it. Which way did he go? Which way did he go?
Well, see, Larry, I'm somebody that is very firm in my understanding that we're all capable of things that we never thought were possible.
You mean the unachievable is achievable?
I mean, what I am saying, not what I mean. What I'm saying is I'm saying that when you put your limitations on things, then that is the best that you will ever do. So if you don't put limitations on those things, then your potentiality for success rises dramatically. And success comes in many different forms, not just financially.
Reality, what a concept. So in other words, your limitations are your limitations.
Well, I'll put it this way. Yesterday I was talking to my brother, and my brother was talking about some of his interest into a company. He was in the millions of dollars range. So when I listen to people, I always bounce it off of him because he is in that category of people. I'm not. I'd like to be. So obviously I'm going to go ask the people that are there, hey, how'd you get here? And I just happen to have a brother that is there. And we were talking, and one of the major things that he did different than I did that changed his success dramatically was discipline.
Yep. Funny how that works, huh?
It works every time. It's consistent.
Imagine that.
Anyways, go ahead with the stream. I just want to make sure that people realize that when they're out there saying, I'd love that. Well, there's a lot of responsibility with that. You don't just get that money and then haphazardly go out and spend it. You won't keep that money. And that's why you don't have that money, because that money is already there. You just don't know it's there because you're doing this, that, and the other thing and don't know how to capitalize on your money.
You
And
mean
obviously,
kind of like how 60% of the lotto winners are broke within 2 years?
60% of the lottery winners are of a category of economic status that is below what they are, like they just, yeah, for lack of better words, yeah.
All right, back to the video.
That's, goods like a house and other things. So they don't have a lot of money to, they don't have enough assets to attract those heavy duty, high end trustees. In fact, they don't even know anybody in that realm, but they do have friends that have a good background. And so a friend may step in and be the trustee, but they don't have money to invest into the trust to buy the capital units. So they also in order for the trust to be substantial and substance of transaction, they still get the 51% of the trust capital units. And so the trustee holds 51% of what's called the corpus of the trust.
And one other thing also is the trust that has something, say like a patent or something like that, is holding a patent, and somebody wants to buy into the trust and wants to offer more money, and say the trust capital units are, say they're each worth $100 each, and he wants to put in say $100,000. So that would be buying more than what the trust capital units are worth. He can put that money in, and what happens at that particular situation is that the trust capital units split.
Well, that's a really complicated
It's a really complicated thing, but it's just like preferred stock splitting.
Just like preferred stock splits, yeah. And
Right.
These are those rhombohedron crystals in your pineal gland. When those crystals become electrically activated, all of a sudden they start calling energy back to them. And
As a matter of fact, it's ran very similar to a corporation that issues stock certificates. The difference being that the stockholders, they have some say-so, but in a trust, particularly irrevocable trust, the capital unit holders don't have any say-so of how the trust is operated. That's all 100% done by the trustee.
Yeah, the trustees are the only ones who hold voting units. But so anyway, the trustee always has to have the majority. Now, what has happened in some of the trusts is these trustees come on. They didn't put any money in, but they got the trust capital units, and then the grantor and the beneficiaries, they start whining and complaining, and they're unhappy and they want it all back. Well, they want it all back minus 51%, and the trustee didn't put in anything. So he gets 51% of the cash out because he owns the capital unit. So that stops people from cashing out their trust. The purpose of the trust is to have it last for generations. So this particular situation with the trust capital unit stops the desire to cash out the trust.
Wow, that is an ingenious method of doing that. You just taught me something right there. I never thought about that, but that definitely would prevent someone from being desirous to cash out.
Well, it stops a lot of people from getting a trust also, because we like to call it the white man's disease. It's mine, and I don't want anybody else to have their hands on it. And they put it in trust. Yeah, it was theirs, but now trustees own 51% of it.
And this is absolute fact in law. When you start getting into trusts and start dealing with it, and they start talking about trust capital units, these people, they lost their court case because the trustees didn't have 51%.
Wow.
Betts was a statutory irrevocable trust, so they didn't have trust capital units. But in an irrevocable common law trust, there's plenty of cases. I mean, they're listed in Volume 2, and some of them are listed in Volume 1, where, this is interesting, speaking of that. You say the bank is the trustee of my trust, my statutory trust, and it's irrevocable, and the bank is the trustee. That's been taken to court. The banks cannot be trustees because they cannot take 51%. They can only get 7%.
Now, is that Okay, so does that in any kind of way, like when we do these real estate investment trusts on Wall Street, because people are getting foreclosed on left and right, and the bank says they are the trustee for blah 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 2007 trust, blah blah blah. Are you saying that that's impossible? They can't be the trustee for that trust?
That's right. They can't because they're only getting 71. They only get 7. As a trustee, a bank will only take 7% of it. That's the maximum they can take by law. It's in volume 2. That particular.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I've read some prospectus where I think they get like about 2%, 3%, something like that.
It's not an irrevocable trust, and they don't own it.
Wow. That's some good information. I hope everybody out there caught that jewel before it hit the ground.
That's the kind of stuff. I mean, we have, Frank and I together, we've been managing trusts, building trusts, doing things for, I don't know, sometimes we say 10 years, sometimes we say 15, because we kind of really don't
More than that now.
And we have all kinds of those little kinds of pearls. So, and if you want to get volume 2, that means you're real serious about putting together a trust. Let me tell you, volume 2, which has a huge amount of information in it and will drown you, is nothing compared to what Frank and I know.
One thing, I don't know how much longer we have, but before we go, if people go to passingbucks.com and sign up for a free gift, it's on the left-hand side. We'll trap their email address and name, and we send out newsletters every now and then. And that's how maybe a lot of people are hearing this right now. But this coming week, we'll probably have a special on the book, so they can get their name. If they're on our e-list, they will get an email
with the code,
with the discount code for buying the book.
Yeah, the printer of our book gave us a great big bonus and screwed up on the glue on the binding, and so we have books that have just a little tiny bit of too much glue on the first page and the last page. Everything else on those books is absolutely perfect, and no one would know.
Wait a second.
This, except we can't
Pause that.
afford to sell defective stuff, and so there's a discount.
What she's saying is her book is a little bit sticky.
Yeah.
Just funny.
Sticky sometimes can be a very good thing, and then other times it could be a very, very, very bad thing.
That it can.
You can either get one without the glue problem, or you can get one with a discount with the glue problem. And so if you sign up for a free gift, we'll be sending out the discount code shortly.
Apex gives you limitless focus for long work days. Simply take this game-changing formula in.
Okay. Now, one last question, because this just came to my mind in listening to some of the things that you were just saying. If someone was to hire you to do a trust for them, how much responsibility do you put on them to learn things? Like, I know some people, and what they'll do is they'll put the trust together, but they'll say, hey, look, you got to buy this book, and you're going to have to learn this book too. You're going to have to know this stuff. Are they required to know it, or is this, well, just put the trust in me, you do everything for me?
We're not going to be there to defend them. They can buy the books, they can read both books, and they can hire us on an hourly basis as a support to help them put their trust together. But we will train them and their board of trustees on how to manage a trust correctly. And once they go, and if they have a problem, they can call us up and ask us questions, but we're not going to be there to defend them. Their board of trustees is the main core, and they have to know it. And that's basically, we were putting trust together for people before, and we had one trust go out of here. It was 35 pounds of paper. And the people got the book, and
35 pounds of paper. That's just ridiculous. 35 pounds of paper. Wow.
Yeah, but I guarantee on a trust like that, it's untouchable. That 35 pounds of paper just saved them a lifelong struggle.
Yeah, but
well, it's kind of here's the deal. Not to sound like a law enforcement agent. When you think about it, it's much like with somebody's house. If you have, let's say you have drainage issues, okay? If you don't see the slant that you're on, then those drainage issues will continue. If you don't go out in the rain and look, those issues will continue. And then when you fix them, if you just put a Band-Aid on it, well, it's not going to work forever. It'll work for now, but it's not going to work for tomorrow. And long-term scenario with that is the water will always seep to the lowest point. You know, so no matter what you do, if you don't take care of the issue, it's always going to be an issue, much like with a trust. When you have a 35-pound trust, you're not going to deal with those issues. You've literally built your house on a fucking hill and everything rolls down. Like to make a trust that big is it's exasperating. It's overkill, but that means you'll never have to kill again.
yeah,
So,
but I just believe though your average person couldn't come up with these 35 pounds.
well, your average person doesn't have 35 pounds worth of trust information. Yeah, like there's only so much information that one person has, and that information increases as your equity increases. You know, so as your and direct relation to your equity. So if you have more equity, you need more paperwork.
Yeah.
And that could have been a business trust. I mean, 35 pounds of paper for a business trust, it's not unrealistic at all. Like for real, it's not. And honestly, it's not surprising at all that it's 30. I'm surprised it's not like 60 pounds.
Yeah, like you said, depending on how much money they were talking about. But like that one guy said, you know, if you got to play their game at some sort, and if you don't play their game, that's where you get into problems. You know, like paying your taxes. You know, for the trustee.
Well, they're not your taxes.
Well,
they're not your taxes in that scenario, and there is not a law on the books that say they're yours other than by consent.
Right.
You know, and that's one of those things where that's that kind of information that's in those trusts so that it's clear and decisive.
Yepers.
So, anyways, back to your video.
Yes, we're going to plug this video again. It's from High Frequency Radio. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell them Larry James 965 sent you. This video is used for entertainment, educational, and fair use. Thank you.
And they had him for 5 years. The only thing they did was sat behind a box of books, and I'm protected from the government because I have these books. They never did bother to read them.
So this is the trust books, not the art
Right.
of passing the buck. This is the trust books that we put together for them. And we also went to their board meetings every once in a while and gave them some more education. We also told them exactly what was going to happen with the IRS. We also fed them everything they possibly could know, but did they ever bother to pick up a law book or anything? No. Did they ever think that they were on the line? No. Did they ever think that their assets were not protected, not because they didn't have the right paperwork, but they were not protected because they didn't have the knowledge. Oh boy, what a mess that was.
When they were attacked, they resisted for a while, but after a short distance, they caved.
Yeah, and they never learned so many of the things that we had told them, you know. So it was like, oh, well, there's not much we can do.
So therefore, that's one reason why we decided not to build trust for people anymore, because if you don't know it, you're going to get hurt by it. And by us educating people and duplicating ourselves, we want the people to know exactly what we know. If I could take
Wait a
my
minute.
brain...
Well, I got to just interrupt you. Did everybody out here there hear what he just said? Before I brought you on the show, I was having, I have clients. I don't do trust work or anything, but I got accused of basically my integrity was attacked. I didn't complete a job for someone. And it was the same thing you said. I don't do it anymore because I said I would take individuals, I would sit them down, I would say, here, this is what you need to read. Here's the paperwork that goes with it. You need to read this stuff. I'm not going to be there. I cannot defend you. And I got out of the business and just started just showing people how to do things themselves, because it seems like when you do it for them, they'll end up attacking you. You know, I would get attacked, if I did it for them. But I said, okay, well, look, I'm going to make you responsible for your own stuff, because the way I look at this, especially when dealing with private information, I think at the core of it is there is responsibility. A person is responsible for when you do private things, that means you're not taking any benefits or privileges from the government. You have to learn how to be responsible for yourself. And this is what I see is lacking in the American society today. And I guess this is going to be a good little segue, Gwen, for us to go into what we were talking about last night. But would you go ahead and talk about that a little bit?
What? You mean do you mean that article I told you on the other website?
Yeah. What's happening with the planet, I don't know if you want to talk about that or not.
Did you look it up?
Kettler's up on Kettler's website right now. Looking up. You want to you want to give him a plug real quick, John Kettler?
JohnKettler.com. That's an article on his website. There's 5 articles. They're short under the subject of vampires. And it's information released through the Rothschilds. And it's an explanation of how the planet is.
Rothschilds. I believe I might have heard that name maybe one time before somewhere, somehow, someplace.
Has run and who the Rothschilds really are, and the politics of vampires in reference to Earth. And that's all I'm going to say.
Well, you're listen. I've been studying this for 25 years, and everybody on this show.
Wait. Hold on. Frank says we cannot talk about that. So.
Okay. Okay. We want to talk about it, but it's an interesting thing when I about responsibility. The responsibility of individuals to learn information for themselves. And that's what I'm seeing. I saw that there seems to be some sort of something in the American people where they, they don't want to take responsibility for things, and that's what this looks, it's almost like some type of lethargic type something. And that's just what I encountered.
You mean we don't want to be responsible for our actions? Huh.
And I didn't like being attacked like that, because it's like, look, I'm trying to do everything I can for you, but there's going to be some type of responsibility to rest on your shoulders to know this information. So that's why I just kind of brought that up about the trust. It's like, okay, do they have to know this information? Okay, so just put my paperwork together. I got a trust and everything's all good.
No. In fact, the fact that you have a trust makes you more of a target. I mean,
More of
a target. So that's why if you get a trust, you keep your mouth shut.
Is this mystic's chilling prophecy about to come true? This is Baba Vanga. She's known as the Nostradamus of...
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah, so if you're gonna be putting together a trust, you only talk about it with your family or your trustees or whatever. You know, you don't go out and brag about it or anything. You don't say anything at all.
So let me ask you this about filing paperwork. Some people say, well, you get a trust and you can file some paperwork into the public, maybe the Secretary of State, or file the indenture or something like that. Does any of that paperwork get filed, or does it just, you don't need to file anything like your indenture, put the state on notice, well, this is a trust and it exists? Well, how about that? Is that violating privacy if you do that, or is that something that you can do?
Let's say you have a laborer who's going to help you build your house, and you have a private contract with that laborer, with the general contractor of the person who's going to buy the house. He's building the house, You have a contract, and you both sign on the contract. Do you have to file that?
Nope, you don't.
Because it's a private contract, right? Well, there you go. What's the difference?
Well, I said that too. I said you don't file anything anywhere. It's a private contract that is protected under the Constitution, with your right to contract unlimited. So I'm 100% in agreement with you. Okay. Well, okay. I'm not going to hold y'all all day, but what I did want to do, I want y'all to give another plug for your book and what it is that you do. Anything else that you want to put out there? This is your opportunity to, just to say it. I'm giving you the floor right now.
Okay, the first book, Volume 1, The Art of Passing the Buck, is for everybody. And especially Grandma and Grandpa should read this, because they probably have their stuff set up in some sort of format, or maybe they haven't even done it yet. But it talks not only about all the different kinds of trusts there are and how to raise the children, but it talks about what happens in old age when people want to bribe the nurse to, there's all this stuff. My father even did this. He gave a house to one of his nurses, and because he had listed the house in the trust that he had set up after he died, she had to give it back. But there's all kinds of experience situations in Volume 1 that everybody needs to have. So I recommend highly that you get on the website, sign up for the free gift, so you can get the codes in case you want to get a little discount on your book. Now, Volume 2 is only for those who are students, who will study the law, who will look up the court cases, who really want to get deep into it, and who really think that they are going to set up a trust. There's people that get the books, the Volume 2, just because it's a heavy reference book, and they just want to have it in their library in case they ever need it. And there's other people who have been studying trust for ages, and this information is all in one place. They don't have to, try to dig it out of all the places we dug it out of. And it gives tremendous amount of experience. Volume 2 also has the paperwork, the initial paperwork you have to put together the trust, and it goes into tons of things. It doesn't have the indenture in it because we didn't particularly want to give the indenture out to the government, but it has how to put the trust together. It has all the paperwork. It has all the parts of an indenture in it. It has all kinds of things. And
one other thing about Volume 2 is a training manual, and even if you have a trust.
All right, you see this phone? Now, do not invest any money before you hear this. Hi, I'm Jeff Clark.
Volume 2 is good to, you can use the Volume 2 to check out your own trust to see if it has all the correct parts, and also use it for the administration of your trust.
Yeah, and yeah, any trustee would love to have that book. It's a huge amount of experience, and Volume 1 is also a huge amount of experience. It's how to handle difficult beneficiaries, how to handle special beneficiaries, you know, how to pass on your wealth so that you get to keep it in the family.
Yeah, when I first started studying trust, you know, I was just under this impression. Everybody said, "Well, you put together a trust," and I was like, "And go get your bank account." And I was like, "Okay, I'll just get me these trust documents, and I'll put together me a trust. Go give me a EIN number for the trust, and you know, and hey, open me a bank account, and I have a trust." And then when I started studying this, it was the administration and the management of the trust that is significant and important and makes a very interesting study. And this information is not widely available. Would you agree with that?
I think we have the only books that are written on the subject.
Well, there has been other books that were written before, but if you go and do some research, like the Common Law Trust book was written back in the early 90s or late 80s, and the DOJ IRS went after them, and the book is no longer in print.
And they had a lot of information in there that was extremely valuable, which we took out of it. And they had a lot of information in there that was very, very dangerous, such as in that particular book, they said the managers of the trust, which would have been the grantor, kept most of the power, and it just lined it. It's not true. You know, the trustees have the legal power. They have to handle the taxes. They have to handle all the contracts. It's a huge amount of stuff that the trustees have to have knowledge about, and that the grantor, to keep himself safe, can't sign any of those documents. The grantor cannot sign the checking account, cannot sign contracts, cannot deal with any interface between the trust and any other entity. But he can, you know, tell the trustees what he wants and how to do it and all that, but he can't put his signature on anything. So in this other common law trust book, which really helped us, they had a big section in there on trust capital units, which really helped. They were saying that the manager does all that stuff. No, cannot do that. You know.
I have to agree with you 100%. I have a trust book myself on common law trust, and it was written in the 80s. I have not been in, and I'm a researcher, and I can't find nothing on, you know, anything like even close to what I got in this book. It's not the same kind of trust that you're dealing with, but I know how hard it is to get your hands on certain information. And so that's why I had you on the show, because, you know, I would say, okay, these people have to know something. And that information, you have those books, I'm sure that's invaluable. I don't know if my listeners can comprehend this, but if you're going to get involved in trust, you know, information like that, you have to be a student. And this jurisdictional thing, I think, would be the biggest thing. What would you say is the number one thing people have to understand?
Well, that's
one is they're not putting a trust together to evade or avoid income taxes. They're putting a trust together for their beneficiaries. That's the most important thing. And the jurisdictional issues are secondary. And some people choose not to move outside of the jurisdiction of the United States. That's okay. That's a choice that they have to make for their own trust. But it's for the family. It's not to hide.
It's not for beating the government out of taxes. It's for a much, much bigger purpose. And as long as it's addressed that way, all the other benefits, and there's a huge amount of benefits, will fall into place. So, you know, one of the questions the IRS asked, the DOJ attorney asked when I was being deposed, that's it. It was a 6-hour deposition I had to give. He couldn't understand why the names of our trusts were not the names of the grantors. And I explained it to him. I said, a trust is for the history of the family. So we tell people to name your trust after your grandmother's maiden name or somebody famous back there, to incorporate the history of your family into your so the beneficiaries will know something about where they come from. And he looked at me like,
these are the memories tinnitus wipes out first. Let me show you how I stopped the maddening inner ear noise that was destroying my hearing and my brain. Thanks to a remarkable scientific discovery, anyone can now wipe out bothersome buzzing, hissing, and clicking sounds 3 times faster, even while sleeping. But how? For the first time in history, studies from Harvard, the University of Manchester, and the University of Texas at Dallas have led to a Nobel Prize-winning way to restore crystal-clear hearing faster than anyone thought possible. With no antidepressants or toxic drugs. With 0 hearing aids or tinnitus retraining therapy. And with absolutely no ear flushing or painful surgery. All by using a rapid at-home ritual first thing every morning that urgently repairs broken circuits in the auditory system, rapidly regrows hearing support cells to better decode sounds, and feeds the brain to protect against future hearing loss and mental decline. The best thing? It's completely natural and you can do it safely from the comfort of your home, starting immediately.
what? Where was he going to go with that, right? But that is the truth. This is about the family history. And I tell, I have a video on our website. It's called Survival Through Family Unity. And I really, really emphasize that particular part of building up a trust. And I take people into the future so they can see what the future would look like on the 3rd generation if you set up a trust today. And in there, I tell on my personal life, a trust that I inherited from. And I tell that I never knew, I knew the name of the guy who set it up, but I didn't know his history. And it always bothered me. I wanted to know who he was and how he did it. And I wanted to know everything there was about him because I was the 3rd generation. I didn't know him. He was dead. So it was very, very important to me. So that's why we incorporate that into trust.
Wow. Okay. I actually read some IRS documentation, some things where they were saying that the purpose of the trust has to be for I guess this is not for business purposes. Would you say these trusts are for business purposes or for holding assets? And is there a difference between that?
There's a court case. It's in Volume 1. I don't have it right in front of me right now, but it talks about that particular issue. A judge had to make a decision on whether the trust could hold a business or not, and the decision from the judge was that a trust can be a business if the beneficiaries of the trust did not put any assets into the trust, did not contribute to setting up the trust. That's also the truth with partnerships. That also applies there. So yeah, a trust can be a business as long as the beneficiaries did not put anything in there. But a business is sort of like a side box. You have one box for the management, which the trustees and the executive secretary sit in, and then if you want to, and they administer to things that are income streams, and then if you want to have a separate business under the umbrella of the trust, you put it in a separate box. So, and always make sure the beneficiaries did not contribute to the initial corporate. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I mean, you hit me with some interesting things for me to think about, because that's a I guess you dropped another one of those jewels you say you got a lot of, because that kind of rains on my parade a little bit, because we were thinking about putting together a trust for business purposes, something I guess akin to a real estate investment trust, for investment purposes for community projects. Would these type of trusts fit that bill or am I talking about something a little different? You know, where because now I'm seeing, okay, well, how do you court investors if the beneficiaries beneficiaries can't contribute to the trust corpus? You know, then that to me, I guess you'd have to arrange it, set it up in a certain kind of way. But do you understand where I'm going with that?
Yeah, you're getting apples and oranges all mixed up. You got to get a management trust first. You got to establish your trustees. You have to establish your initial corpus. Then under that management trust, you can put your LLC, you can put your business, you can put this, you can put that, but you have to have the management trust set up first. It's called trust structuring. It's an art form. And that's where the consultation comes into how to draw the lines. But we do, in volume 1, we take you through a basic trust structuring lesson through up through chapter 4. We have the diagrams and explain it all to you. But without the management trust, you got to start there. And the management trust is the key thing. It's the key thing. If you read a book, it's called The Rich and the Super Rich. What's his name? Ferdinand Blumberg. He went ballistic. He was a professor, and he kind of went ballistic over the anger of the rich and how they structured their money and all that. And there's certain parts in that book where he can't figure out how.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to High Frequency Radio. That's who this video is brought to you by. Thank you.
How they can get all their, you can only hold 9% of the corporations, because if you own 10% of the stock, it goes into some other taxable thing or privacy thing or something. I can't remember. I read it a long time ago. But he couldn't figure out how he could get all the holders of the corporation to vote in concert, because he didn't know about the management trust. He didn't know about how it was orchestrated. Everything is orchestrated through the management trust.
We're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
And I like how you said that it's an art form, because I did recognize that is an art form in trust structuring. I actually went to a seminar. These other guys, they were doing common law trust. They had some sort of scheme where they were trying to structure the trust. It was so long ago, I don't remember exactly how they did it, but it was exactly what you were saying right here. There has to be a certain way that this is put together, and I guess this is for to stave off liability or things like that, or to compromise the integrity of the trust. Would that be correct?
To keep the integrity of the trust from being compromised.
Okay.
You have to do it absolutely correctly, or you're going to mess yourself up. And
I'd like a little point of clarification for you and your audience. If you completely understood what we have just said, then you didn't understand what we said.
You get into trust structuring, and that comes after volume 2. And after volume 2, if you think you know what you're doing after volume 2, then you better call us, because if you want to do some trust structuring, there's no way we can put everything we know in volume 2. But we're not even going to talk to people unless they've read both volumes 1 and 2. We don't even accept them as clients. We don't even give them a consulting contract. You have to read both volumes. And we know you can't read volume 2 and really understand it. So we say you have to be familiar with it. But you have to be very familiar with the first 5 to 6 chapters.
I like their approach on that.
Nancy, that's very interesting. That's something that's important to know. I think I'm going to adopt that policy myself. You cannot talk to me until you read this book right here. You have to read this book right here, then come talk to me.
Pause that for a second.
It would be a waste of time, because people are so mixed up that there's nothing we can do.
Right. Frank, you had something you wanted to say?
No, I didn't. I just want to thank your audience and you and your audience for having us on. I just clicked on the email, and I see about 10 or 12 people have signed up for the free gift and gotten on our e-list, and they'll be getting the code probably tomorrow or the next day. And I just looked at our website also, and the code is there. So I didn't think our geek was going to put it up, but he put it up, and that just means he's going to have to take it down probably in a few days.
Okay. Okay. I want to thank both of you also. And before I let you go, I just want to stress this to my audience. I want to stress because I got a lot of brothers out there, Moorish brothers and other individuals out there. And this trust subject is a very, very important subject that comes up in dealing with trust. And I was kind of like one of those people who did not appreciate the complexity, the intricacy, the attention to detail that is required when structuring a trust. And I've since come into that appreciation, and it's a very interesting subject to me. It's because I have this propensity for legal matters, and this is just because it's a science, and that's what I like, and that's what it should be treated like. It's an exact science, and I want to stress to them that whenever you come across information like what they are offering right now on this program, I'm going to suggest that you get your hands on it because it's going to be very, very important information that's not going to be easily found. You're not going to be able to get this. This is not something you just go on the internet and Google and, oh, here I found the information. It's not anything like that. You're not going to find this type of information like that. You're going to have to get your hands and get acquainted with someone who is going through it and who knows what they're doing. And then you're also going to have to take time to read and study the subject matter and get this material. I want to thank both of you for coming on the show today and sharing your wisdom and your insight in this particular matter. I really, really, really appreciate it. And go ahead and give your information one more time, because we may have some people that just came on the show and so forth, and, give all your information.
Okay, the name of the website is passingbucks.com, and make sure you sign up for the free gift there. That way you'll get put on our e-list to get more information than what is on the website. There's a lot of information on the website that people should read, and if they're really serious about trust, and plus also if they get on our e-list, we only send out stuff on privacy and trust information. You're not going to be overwhelmed with it. We probably put out, one a week or maybe sometimes one a month. So you're not going to be overwhelmed with a bunch of junk. And they can go there, and also it's already posted on the website that we have a promotional offer for some books that were overglued that they can get a discount on. We only have a limited supply of those, and once they're gone, and there's information on the website on getting those. So, and also we have a phone number, and the phone number is on the website. And just like I said, Gwen and I were probably in this 8 or 9 years before we even thought about putting the books together. So we really got our feet wet on it. And just like I said earlier, I want to thank you and your audience for putting up with us. And hopefully everybody has learned something, even us.
We've enjoyed talking to you folks. So thank you for listening to us, and you've got us on our favorite passions.
Well, you've already said a couple of things that just set my mind to, you said some very good things. Trust me on that, because I am a student of this particular subject. I in no way, shape, form, or fashion do I claim to know even a 10% of what I need to know about the structuring of a trust. But, it's coming. I see the complexity of it. And it's something that I definitely want to get deeper and deeper and deeper into. And I felt like it would be incumbent upon me to bring people up on the show who had been involved in this a very, very long time and made people aware of what it is that they were getting into when they decided to deal with the trust. And I want to thank both of you from the bottom of my heart for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Well, I thank you for having us, and so I've enjoyed dripping some of my jewels.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You too. Take
All right,
care too.
take care. Bye-bye.
All right. One more time, we want to give props to the person that showed that video, and it came from High Frequency Radio. Please like, share, and subscribe. He's a very resourceful man, got a lot of knowledge, got a lot of information out there.
He's not only that, but he also appears in every presentation that I've ever seen him. He is a man's man, meaning that he is a man of the people and a man for himself.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I've got a lot of respect for that guy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off in the middle of excellent broadcasting.
Oh, no reason to be sorry. No doubt about it. Yeah, I've been listening to him, I don't know, at least a year or two, I think.
So here you go, Larry. I got my top rails done during that scenario.
Right on.
Just a nice step. This is always one of my favorite angles.
Yeah. What kind of wood is that?
It's cedar.
Cedar. Right on.
Red cedar.
How much does a 2x4 go for nowadays?
That's not my department.
Damn you.
No,
Morning,
I'm
Wolf
serious.
Lady. Good to see you in the chat.
I'm very serious. Like, I don't deal on that end. If I go into the store, I don't ever pay attention to what I'm paying or anything like that, because if I pay attention to stuff like that, then I'll see it for what it is, as opposed to see it for what it really is. And what that really is that's what the customer is paying for the material. And then what I'm concerned about is what my time is worth. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. No, I heard it's like $5 a 2x4 now or something.
Not these ones.
More or less, you think?
Considerable amount more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's gotten crazy.
Well, if you look at it, it's a true 2x4.
Yeah.
Like, that's rough sawn. It's when I build my cedar fences, they're great days. I love to build these things. The smell of the wood when it's being cut, the whole, just every aspect of it.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So I've got on this job, I've got the bottom rails to put up, all my pickets, and then the gates. And then a lot of companies, they'll come in and they'll do this, and then they'll just backfill that, and that's your post. What we do is we mound concrete up so it's above grade. And then what that does is it allows to, when the water comes down, it hits that concrete and moves away from the post as opposed to getting into the post. Obviously, some gets into the post and everything, but we completely encased our post in concrete all the way down. So it's not got ground contact on the bottom and able to rot from the top up. It's going to rot in one specific spot, and you'll be able to monitor that over time and be able to address that over time.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's a thinking ahead on maintenance thing. The way I look at it is whether I do the maintenance on this fence or not, somebody's got to in 5, 10, 15 years, you know, so why not give them the upper hand if I can make it a little easier and it's easier all the way around once you start doing it that way.
Yeah. So did you learn that process the hard way by chance? Yeah.
Well, one of the other services that my business offers is we offer fence post repair. So
Yeah.
I'll come into a yard and I'll look at a fence and I can tell who built it. And maybe not their name, maybe not, but I can tell whether they were a craftsman, whether they took care in their work. I mean, for instance, like my seams are butted. You know, there's a little gap on that one, but that's a post issue. The post is out of square by a 1/16 of an inch on the backside.
Yeah.
And I know which posts are which, and you know, I mean, I do my job with a lot of dedication. You know, I'll sit there and look at my fence for, you know, after I've got my rails and stuff up, before I take the next step, I'll sit there and look at it and just visualize the fence pickets on there and what it's going to look like. Because in this scenario, most fences are front faced out. This one is front face in. So my customer is going to see my fence work specifically. They're not going to see the inside, but they're going to see the outside. So, you know, I want to make sure that mine is adequate. Like, for instance, you look at this fence. This is a panel fence that somebody put up, probably the former homeowner. But see how this piece and this piece are not in line?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the same can be said about mine, but as you're here, let me find a good one. Well, they're all good, I guess. As you're getting into these, you'll notice that this point and this point are on the same access line.
Right, right.
So as it steps up 4 inches every time. And the only one that I don't like is this one right here. And it's because I'm 6 foot tall. So that means that the picket runs about a foot above the rail. It's the only place in the yard, and there's a tree right behind it, so there's not a damn thing I can really do about it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, back to whatever you were doing, because Fence 101 with Nubs is not necessarily the entertainment capital of the world.
Well, you never know. It could be for some. So there. Ha ha.
Well, I would love for people to be able to. I would love for people to be able to learn. You should have seen me yesterday out here. I was digging the fucking holes. And as I was digging them, normally I would take and I would use my pry bar and just crack the roots that way. Well, yesterday my business partner came by with the Sawzall, and I've used Sawzalls before, but I was like, I wonder. Well, what I was doing is I was cutting the hole, then I was digging the dirt out of it, and there were enough roots to merit cutting the hole as opposed to just digging the hole. But I'm telling you, I had 8 holes dug. I got here at 8:30, and by the time, what was it, about noon or 11:30, I had all 8 holes dug 48 inches deep.
Yeah. So how long does one blade last per hole doing it that way?
I get the outdoor blades, and if I hit bigger roots, I'll switch into a nice blade, but normally I just run shitty blades around because they work. And then once I hit in, like I've got a couple of trees, like this one here had a root that was about 6 inches. So I grabbed a new blade for that root and right through them.
Right. But what about if it's really rocky?
If it's really rocky, that's why I don't tend to do it that way in the first place. However, there's different soils, and St. Paul here, they're rocky once you get to 35 inches. inches and below, it's pebbles, it's crick rock. And having dug here enough, I know that. And there's a clay base right before that. So once you hit into the clay base, you know what you're getting to in another next 2 or 3 shovels.
Right, and you shouldn't have to go that deep in the first place for anything.
Well, we're at 48 roughly. I dig my holes between 48 and 50 inches. That way I have a couple of inches of concrete underneath the frost line. And
Right.
then I also bell my bottoms. So what that means is basically I'll dig down straight and then I'll open it up like that at the bottom. So that way it creates a pressure point pushing the fence or pushing the concrete down and holding the fence in position. It's probably overkill, and I don't do it much. I mean, I just taper them about a half an inch or an inch, give or take, but it's wider at the bottom than it is at the top.
Yeah. How do you succeed that?
As you're digging, the way I dig is I'll use a tree spay and I'll run my tree spay down into a circle, and then I'll come back through with my diggers, my post hole diggers. And my post hole diggers, I can get them to just enough of an angle where at the bottom I'm skimming off. And then I'll just drag that to the center and I can then get that out. I'm pretty proficient when it comes to digging. I'm quick and I'm good. I've learned from a very young age how to dig some holes. It's getting out of those holes that's the challenge.
I think I see a head swelling. No. Let me get my pin out.
I just found a socket. Is it any good? Craftsman. I could go get a new one. That one's rusty. Free sockets. It's free socket day.
Do they actually, I mean, I know they got bought out. Do they actually still have that guarantee?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't pay attention. I lose more tools than I'm able to do. And there again, that's not my department.
And I believe most of the like Home Depots and stuff like that, the ones that sell in Craftsman now. I could be wrong. I guess Wolf Lady already left. She had to go walk the dog and go to some appointment.
Believe it or not, I use a knife for all my cuts.
Knife on what? The 2x4s?
Yeah. But then I use a saw to actually go through it.
So you use the knife as a scribe type thing?
Yeah. Here. That way when I mark up a board, you can't see it. You can't see it from across the room. And normally when I'm making marks, like I'll come in, well, here, I'll show you what I did. You make just a little mark and then my board is going to sit right on top of that. So you'll never see that mark whatsoever.
Yeah.
It just looks like somebody scratched the wood.
You mean you don't want a big orange mark on the damn board? What the hell, Nubs?
No, actually, the company that we get these from, one of their guys is a fucking freak with his marker. And I've always, well, here, I'll show you.
Yeah, I did that at a lumber yard. You mark them. We used to mark them a 1, a 2, or a 3, and that told the grade of the board.
And what grade do I have, Larry?
A number 1.
Oh, number 1.
It was
He is
funny
always
because
first.
I was when I worked at the lumberyard, I was called the cutter. They called them cutters. All you did all day was cut the boards and little 2x4s that they fingered together to make another 2x4 with. Actually, I started out on the line. You start out on the round table, and the round table's where all the little pieces of 2x4s are together, and then you got to put them in the bins where they take them and they finger them together, and then you go from there to the 2x4 line, and then you got to grab the boards, as they're numbered, and put them in piles so that people can come grab them and bring you another load. And then I went to a cutter. Morning, Nude. Good to see you, man. Haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're having a great day and a better tomorrow. How's that? But then again, you're always doing awesome. Uh-oh. I don't know if I was supposed to divulge that information. No, just joking. No straw smoking on the job there, Nubs.
This is rather difficult to do one-handed.
Yeah, I want to get me like a GoPro with a little harness and stuff so I can film different shit. Cause I do shit around here all the day, all the time. I wish I could film, but like you said, you can't really hold the camera and do shit at the same time. When I was just working on I've been working on my scooter for the last 3 days, and I probably should have filmed it, but phone don't want to sit up by itself, damn it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to put the camera down for this one.
Not a problem, man. I've been here about 3 hours. I've been just thinking about maybe ending it. Now that we got Nude here, though, the party's just beginning. Party on, dudes. What's mine say? Dude, what's mine say? Uh-oh. Let's see who the hell's pulling into my driveway. Hang on. All right, I'm back. Had to tell a delivery driver which way to go.
Which way do we go, George? Which way do we go?
Go!
Do you feel like part of the live action, Larry?
Live action figure? No. Which way did he go? Hello, audio. No doubt about it. Woohoo!
Apparently their grade A is not necessarily my grade A.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like anything else. It's a production line, and in a production line, you don't really get the time to do what you need to do.
Well, then you need to slow down and be productive. That is totally contradictory in
It's always
thinking,
quantity, not quality, dummy.
which is really sad because I know what you're saying tends to be true in a lot of facilities.
I worked at this battery distribution center for, I don't know, like 8 years or so, and we had to, pick the batteries for Les Schwab. So we'd get a Les Schwab order, and you'd go through it. This store would order 2 batteries of this and 10 of this one and one and so forth. But we had to pick 100 batteries an hour to meet your quota, and it totaled up to, about 46,000 pounds a day.
That's a couple batteries.
Yeah, well, it's funny because when I worked there, I got in the best shape of my life, but also my body got tore up like it never did before, too.
Well, any day that I go home sore, I know I've put a good and accurate day's worth of work.
Well, sore for one is one thing, but permanent injury is completely a different book, I think.
Well, permanent injury comes from, or preventing permanent injury comes from a self-preservation that is unwavering.
Yeah, but that's the problem with most of these industries is they don't care about your personal health. They just want the production.
Yes, but the law does. And if you know the law, you can protect yourself and the company. I'll tell you what, dude, I'll be real honest with you. I'm going through some life changes where I'm just not willing to give the responsibility to anybody but myself on a lot of things.
Yeah, because when you go to trust, especially this legal system, you usually get bent over without a reach around.
Well, the thing is if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, don't get into the fucking pudding.
Yeah, it's kind of like when I worked at Gemtop, they made me work with a broken hand, and I went to a lawyer and stuff, and the lawyer told me, all he could do was get me my job back. And I'm like, so, they're making me work with a broken hand, and that's,
They aren't
not
making you do
vital.
anything. They're not making you do a damn thing. Think about what you're saying, Larry. You have every opportunity to go out and do for yourself what you are relying on them to do for you. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not looking to be condescending by any means. In fact, much the opposite. I see so much potential in people, specifically in this case, you, that you don't even see. Does that make
Well,
sense?
that's true. That's true to a certain extent. I'm just saying there was a time in my life, and this was back in the 90s, when jobs were few and far between. And I had the mentality, you know, that if you do your job right and you work hard, it's gonna, you know, they're gonna appreciate your self-worth, your you know, demeanor on getting the job done and done right. And they said I had to work. I worked. You know, yeah, I didn't really have to work. I could have said fuck you, but I thought, you know, this is my
I
slave
get what you're saying.
mentality back. It was my slave mentality back then, you know, that this is what I have to do. And I figured, and then after I did it, I'm like, you know, this isn't right and shit. And then, of course, you know, I felt, oh, well, I'll get repercussions, you know, or I'll get back to them or at them or what the hell ever you want to say it, you know, and get a lawyer and go that route. And that route didn't get me anywhere either. Even the damn OSHA didn't do anything. The whole
Well,
thing
it's
was just a
because
big bullshit.
here's the thing. You consented. By
Yeah, it's
showing
true.
up, you consented. So therefore you were okay with it. And like I said, I'm not looking like, I know a lot of people look to see what I'm saying as a personal attack, and it has nothing to do with a personal attack. I've had jobs. I've not always been a business owner. You know,
No,
like
I
I'm
understand
not
what you're
speaking.
saying, and I'm not taking it that way at all.
Yeah, I mean, basically, when it boils down to it, we as a species are accountable for our own actions. And you know, we could say, oh well, my boss made me this, or my wife made me this, or well, then other people are making you into you, and you
Right.
aren't there.
Right.
You know, and I look back to the analogy that I give my son consistently. He'll ask me to do something, and I'll look at him straight to his face, and I'll be like, dude, I'm not doing your fucking push-ups. And he understands it. He understands when I say that, that means, no, I'm not going to be accountable for your actions.
Yeah,
You
no
need to
doubt.
be accountable, and then you reap the reward, because when you do 100 push-ups every day, there's a benefit.
Well, it's just part of, you know, like we said before, living and learning. There's all been times in our life we've been stupid, you know, and didn't know any better because we were following the programming
Was it
that we were
stupid, or
taught.
was it being stupid, or was it crossing bridges so we know what's dangerous?
Or knowing what stupid is. Yeah.
Right. Right. It's much like the analogy of, in order to climb a mountain, you must let go.
Damn it. Don't!
A lot of people just don't understand that. And so they sit in this proverbial, oh, it's everybody else's fault. And they give everybody else the accountability. And when they come to count their abilities, they're coming up lacking because it's everybody else's information. It's everybody else's work. You know, one of the things that I've done is I really took Paul's challenge very seriously. You know, when he said, go out and create something, as did you. I mean, I've noticed the channel. And I looked at that and I said, you know, that means that if I'm out creating something, I can't be on active conversation like we are now. You know, when you were playing the video, it was all good and everything. And I'm not saying that I'm taking a break. You know, that's fine. But what I'm saying, though, is when my attention was on this, it could not be on me.
Right.
And, you know, I give Jack some credit. He's figured out that it is all about me. And in his case, it's all about him.
Right, right.
And what I've realized with that is when it's about me, it's my responsibility.
Right.
And that means that all the pleasure and all the pain are derived upon what I am able to do and what I do. It has nothing to do with what I could do. I could be building a fence right now. I could be. I'm not, but I could be.
Right.
Well, what gets my contract fulfilled? Me sitting here talking to you or me building that fence?
Right.
Yeah, and I'm obviously, like I said, I'm taking a break. I'm not trying to make you like I'm here by my own consent. Because I think that not only I need to hear this, but you need to hear this and everybody else needs to hear this. Because it really boils down to if you are in a place that you do not want to be, then leave.
Mean get out of the kitchen when it gets too hot? Damn it.
If you're not a fucking chef, don't ever go in the fucking kitchen. Let the people that know what they're doing in the kitchen.
Damn it.
You know, and if you're going to go into the kitchen, go into the back door and start peeling some fucking potatoes, make yourself useful first and foremost. And then, since you've got some fucking skin in the game, then and only then can you say, hey, I'd like to know something new. But until you've climbed a fucking boulder, you can't climb a mountain. Now, at least not successfully. You might get away with it 1 or 2 times. But let me tell you, when you fall, it fucking hurts and it could kill you. It fucking hurts falling on those mats, much less hitting the fucking rock.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. I can't get this thing right now, damn it. How about that? Nope.
Now, keep in mind, I personally, I'm a free climber. Like, I don't use fucking ropes. So
Yeah.
if my hand slips, well,
Yeah, we got this, damn it. We got this park not too far from me. They have these like sheared rocks, you know, they're like straight up and down and just very little edges. And people free climb up it all the time. But what's really interesting too about them is they have sea life fossils embedded in them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and we're like 2 hours from the ocean, so that just shows that the ocean was here at one time.
How's this for you? When I dig, I find shells, seashells.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a couple more hours away from the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
So what ocean was it? That's always my big question.
Well, they've shown, you know, that there was some land that was exposed before, and now there's land that wasn't exposed. So it goes both ways.
See, my personal understanding of it, or what I prescribe to, whatever you want to fucking call it, what I've done research and have knowledge of, is that the flood of Noah, it did take place, but it didn't take place when we think it did. And I also think there have been floods that have come after that flood as well. Not to the same magnitude by any means, but on a much more micro scale. I think that those same floods or that same type of flooding has really shaped our society as a whole.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's kind of like this heating of our atmosphere, our global warming. Well, there's been people that have done soil samples, and they've proven that our Earth goes through these cycles. We'll get really super hot for, let's just say, lack of words or whatever, 1,000 years. You know, we'll get 1,000 years of heat, then we'll get 1,000 years of cold, and then we'll
There's a
get
warming and a
1,000 years.
cooling. Yep.
Right. And every time it heals itself, it goes through that freezing period to, you know, heal itself in one way or another, and then it goes through the warming period to do the same thing.
Well, the furthest point on a pendulum is in its swing.
Correct.
You know, and that's really, I don't know. I wasn't fucking there. I can only speculate. I do know what I'm doing has been working very proficiently because, like, I mean, little things that I was never accountable for, I'm having discipline, and that discipline is allowing the account to be written.
Right.
You know, like that, there's something to be like, I hang my head a lot higher. It doesn't go as low as it has in my past. And I'm even talking about good years, like where I thought I was successful, etc. And, you know, this is kind of like, honest, to be real honest with you, this new, I wouldn't even say new, this way of living where you discipline yourself and don't worry about others, there's freedom in it. Like, for real, there is true freedom in this, and it's the freedom of the mind. It's the freedom, and, you know, I mean, I've talked about smoking on here and whatnot, and I'm still smoking. That's one of those ones where I've realized where I've failed in my disciplines, and I'm looking to reassess and re-tackle even that. Because that's majorly, that's completely 100% about self-discipline.
Oh yeah.
You know,
And a lot of times when we're doing things we know that we're not supposed to do, why won't this go back to normal? Things that we're not supposed to do, we'll make excuses like, oh, you know, this one last time, I'm not going to do it again. Or, you know, it's the old, lack of better words, drug fiend attitude we all get in some form, shape, or another. And it doesn't have to do with drugs that, you know, specifically. It could be anything, money,
it has to
object.
do with that's exactly what I'm saying. It has to do with a lack of discipline.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah, like literally 99.9% of our problems in life are caused by lack of discipline and blaming others for it.
Or just this one time.
Well, that's lack of discipline. Just this one time. Just once. Just once.
That's what I was kind of getting at. Yeah.
And it's kind of scary. The analogy came to me as I was sitting in my backyard, and I looked at it, and I do construction and shit, so I've got piles and, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And I looked at it and I was like, wait the fuck a second. Why the fuck does all this shit have to be in my fucking backyard? Why can't I just address it, take care of it, and eliminate the fucking mess in my own backyard? And I was like, holy shit, that's what I've been missing. I didn't address it. I didn't take care of it because I didn't have the discipline to do it. Needless to say, my backyard's a lot cleaner today than it was that day.
Yeah, I just got done. I've been putting off cleaning up underneath my tarp area for a few different reasons, but I got it all picked up in the last few days. And
well, Larry, we've all got those excuses. I've got excuses out the fucking asshole and then some. And, you know, I realized when you start giving yourself leeway, you've already lost.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for instance, that day that I was cleaning up my backyard very, very intently, one of the things that I was intentionally doing is anytime there was something in the front yard that needed to go to the back or vice versa, I would always make sure that I would find something so that I was carrying whatever it was in both directions.
Right, right. So you don't have a wasted trip.
Right. And wasted steps are the fucking enemy. You want to talk about waste in a company? Instead of reducing your production time, how about improving your capacity to perform and then increasing that incrementally with reward as it goes?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was doing the other day when I was cleaning up out front. Is, I'd grab one thing that went in one area, and I'd grab another thing, that was close to that area. So I'd accomplish 3 or 4 things in one step, basically.
Well, this fence is not getting built as we speak.
Do I need to get my puppet strings tighter and tighten those silly strings up and puppet you back to work?
I would say that I need to get those puppet strings back in my hands and not rely on another man to do my job.
Damn it. Well, I am part of the system, so.
You are the system, Larry. You are the system.
Hey, you weren't supposed to tell that secret, damn it.
Secrets hurt feelings.
Imagine that. I can't figure out why I can't get my damn voice back right.
Testosterone, Larry. Testosterone. Damn, these cops are just rolling thick as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't use this damn soundboard enough to memorize the damn buttons yet.
So here's what you do. You put little stickers on it. Red is laughter. That's how I would do it, and figure out what your favorite ones are and memorize those ones first and start with groups of 3 and become proficient with 3, then add one incrementally each day or each week or each specific set time.
Yeah. I'll have to tackle it a couple at a time because I got 22 buttons, so.
Right. And if you tackle it one time or one button at a time, you'll be fine. But if you go to look at the whole board, you'll be overwhelmed.
Yeah, I got a couple of them down. I know this one.
Yep. And then the other thing that I would also do is if you're going to make papers or whatever, like give yourself a cheat sheet where it's picture based instead of word based. Like if there's a fire sound, do a symbol of fire. Or if it's laughter, right? Ha ha ha. Obviously that's words, but not in that form.
Right. They all tell what they are, but the problem is the buttons are real small, so the print's even smaller. So you need a fucking magnifying glass just to see what it reads. But yeah, those are some definitely good ideas. A symbol, symbol's easier to see than a word.
Go to the local craft store or whatever and get some tag board and just put a tag board up on the wall for now with all of them with little icons or whatever, and do it. You don't do it all at once. Draw your icons as you learn them.
Right. No, hey, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, it breaks down the job into increments that you are able to manage, and by the end of the month, you'll be fucking 28 days strong. Well, there's 28 icons, right? So if you learned one each day and put one new character up on your cheat sheet, by the end of the month, you probably would not need the cheat sheet, really.
Yeah, there's 22, so 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you did it in 3 weeks, used your cheat sheet for a week, and set your goal within a month and a half to not need your cheat sheet, you would have that goal achieved. Assuming you
There
did the
you
work.
go again. Put me to fucking work, you asshole.
Well, I need to get back to mine, so
Get
I will
back
catch
to
you on the
work,
flip.
you fucking asshole.
Hey, you sound like my buddy Jack.
Well, yeah, he's everybody's buddy, right?
He's my best friend. Talking about my best friend in the world. Didn't you know he's talking to the UN? Talking to my best friend. Don't you know he's the man? He does what... Wait, no. Wait. He thinks about what he can do. And my song is over, as well as my
Oh,
time.
shit. And
I'll
your
catch
voice.
you guys. Yep. I'm out. I'm out like the fat kid in dodgeball. Just let me catch the ball.
Hey, but you know what? If you could dodge a wrench, you can dodge
You can
a ball.
dodge a ball.
All right, you guys. It's been 3.5 hours. I appreciate you, everybody's time. We'll be here tomorrow, same time, same bat channel. I gotta figure this shit out. What the hell's going on here? Anyway, everyone have a great day. Better tomorrow. We'll be here same time, same bat channel in the morning. Take care. We're out.